seasons. Brighton start on 55 points. That is only 2 points behind Tottenham and Aston Villa. They have 3 games in hand on them. They're 7 points behind Liverpool, and they have 2 games in hand on them. Last time out, Brighton were hammered at home by Everton back on Bank Holiday Monday. Roberto De Zerbi's made 4 changes to the team today. I'll remind you of the team lineups in just a second. We are underway. Brighton defending the goal away to our right, and Gabriel Jesus has closed down an early clearance from 20-year-old Levi Colwill in at centre-back for Brighton. In for the injured Adam Webster, and Estupinian's clearance from the throw, so threw a ball in, got it back and then volleyed it across the pitch, has caught Martin Ødegaard flush in the face, and he's gone down and he's just going to need a little breather here.
Yeah, it's caught him, like you say, flush in the face there, Ali. It's not very nice. Estupinian, the ball's played back to him from I think it's Billy Gilmour, and he's trying to switch the play, so the ball's really travelling. He's caught it on the half volley, and Ødegaard's maybe 10 yards away from him. He's caught him right in the head, in the face, and he's flat on his back at the moment, and it's a nasty ride out in the first minute for Ødegaard.
Flat on his back, talking, breathing heavily, but clearly in some distress, and Granit Xhaka, his teammate there, is down on his haunches and just looking over him. Martin Ødegaard very sensibly taking his time here and slowly picks himself to his feet. As he recovers and they check him out and see he's okay, I'll run you through the 2 teams. Nosebleed there as well, do you think, Glenn?
I think possibly, yeah. He's rubbing his face.
Yeah, he's got some water now, Martin Ødegaard. Back on his feet, having a drink, splashing it over his face as well. Arsenal team, Aaron Ramsdale, all in yellow away to our left, celebrates his 25th birthday today. Ben White, Gabriel, Jakub Kiwior at centre-back, with William Saliba still out injured and Rob Holding on the bench. So Kiwior's the 23-year-old Pole, signed in January from Spezia. He started the last couple of Premier League games, does so again today. Kieran Tierney in for the injured Zinchenko. Jorginho keeps his place in central midfield alongside Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey on the bench. Saka, Ødegaard and Martinelli, the names trip off the tongue, and here is Saka chasing a ball down the right, but White has sliced it out of play, and Gabriel Jesus through the middle. And you just pointed out to me, in terms of the Brighton attack, Karu Mitoma is starting wide on the right, Glenn Murray, and Enciso is starting wide on the left, with the 18-year-old Ferguson through the middle.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change. Mitoma's usually on the left-hand side, but I just wonder, with the aggressiveness of Ben White, if we wanted to have a little bit more of a trickster up against him and Enciso.
Well, here come Brighton down the right with Moises Caicedo back to Alexis McAllister. McAllister pushed slightly further forward in the Brighton formation today, because Billy Gilmour's coming to central midfield to play alongside Caicedo. Manchester City were 3-0 winners at Everton. Brentford beat West Ham by 2-0. And this, our second Premier League commentary of the day for you on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We are 3 minutes in. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Brighton being forced back into their own half. Cool Colwill takes the ball on the turn and just jogs back towards his penalty area. A bit like Evan Ferguson, big man as well, Colwill.
Really interesting the way Arsenal have set up here, haven't they? They're sitting in they're in a unit, but there's not much space between the lines. They're not pressing Brighton, and they're giving them the respect I think that they probably think they deserve, as Brighton just play it out for a corner.
Yeah, miscued pass from Pascal Gross. He was in a central midfield position, so he ostensibly is starting at right back today. Jason Steele played it into him. There wasn't too much pressure on him. He was trying to play a pass across his penalty area, and he's just overcooked it, and it's gone straight out for a corner.
Yeah, unforced error there by Brighton, and put pressure on themselves with an early Arsenal corner.
Early Arsenal corner. 4 minutes played almost here at the Emirates Stadium. Referee is Andrew Madley, all in black, standing on the edge of the penalty area. Delivery will come in from the left for Arsenal, whipped into the near post. Caicedo heads it away. Ødegaard's underneath the next ball, nods it to his left, and then Martinelli jumps in to the Brighton defender. Wasn't really playing the ball, jumped into the man who's gone down heavily, and the Brighton players not too pleased with the challenge. It's Mitoma who's down. Mitoma who was caught. They were jumping for the ball just outside the Brighton penalty area, and Martinelli sort of just turned his shoulder as he jumped, Glenn, and he's really caught him.
Yeah, he has. Mitoma was sort of under the ball and he was always going to win it, but he didn't have much sort of momentum going into the ball, but Martinelli had a lot of momentum, and it was one of those challenges as a player where you think, I can leave a little bit on him here, and I just wonder if VAR are going to have a look at this, because it's a little bit naughty. I
think that is naughty, Glenn, because he knows he's not going to win the header. He knows Mitoma's going to win the header. He's already in mid-air, and he turns and just shoulder barges him in the face, basically.
But I mean, I can't believe that's not a yellow card, to be honest. It's bordering on a red, because like I say, it's one of those, as a professional, you know you're not going to win the ball, but you're going to take the opponent out, and Mitoma took a heavy whack.
I'll run you through the Brighton lineup in just a second. We are back underway, so our video assistant referee Peter Banks and his team will clearly have had a look at all the images and decided there was no further action that needed to be taken. No yellow card either given on the field of play by Andrew Madley. Jason Steele, Brighton's goalkeeper. Pascal Gross, Levi Colwill, Lewis Dunk and Purvis Estupinian are the back four. Caicedo up to win a header. Jesus chests the loose ball down. He's on the move. Dunk gets a volleyed clearance in. Jorginho onto it for Arsenal. First time ball to Xhaka. Jesus pops out into the inside left channel, looks for the run of Xhaka down the left. The ball is played into the Brighton penalty area. Dunk reacts quickly, is across to cover it. Sideways to Gross. Gross delays his clearance, comes back to Dunk, and then Dunk with his right foot. That's a dangerous one, and it's been intercepted by Saka. Chests it down and then overruns it. Falls to Ødegaard. Dummies the shot initially, still going. I'm not quite sure why he didn't hit that first time, and the chance is gone. Glenn Murray.
Yeah, it's a Lewis Dunk diagonal ball, a little bit of a blind ball, and it just falls for Saka, runs into traffic, but he falls so kindly for Ødegaard just inside the box. I thought he was going to stride onto it, hit with his left foot. He decides to have a touch, and by the time he has that touch, the space around him is just cleaned up quickly. Yeah, 5 goals in his last 5 games, 15 for the season. Got himself in position to shoot and then just decided he wanted one more touch. He scored in the 2-0 win at Newcastle, had another chance in that game. That's not a great challenge from Caicedo on Martinelli. Now it's the Arsenal players that are incensed, and there's a few challenges early on in this game, or a couple of challenges. Just wonder whether that was a little bit of retribution from a Brighton teammate on Martinelli, because he was the one who clattered into Mitoma. But Martinelli's in some pain, caught on his ankle there, and the referee Andrew Madley is just saying, everyone back off. I will have a word with Moises Caicedo. I will make the decision as I saw it, and again the video assistant referee and his team will have a look. Yeah, and I must say, as much as I thought that Martinelli's a yellow card on Mitoma, I do believe that's a yellow card as well, because Caicedo comes flying in as Martinelli just cuts across the pitch. I don't think he gets anything on the ball. Clear free kick, and for me, a yellow card. Outside of the foot challenge from Caicedo as Martinelli got away from him. Martinelli's still down hurt. That'll be a worry for Arsenal. We welcome our listeners across the globe on the BBC World Service listening to us this afternoon, 5 Live and BBC Sounds as well. And we're keeping you up to date with all the other sport going on. Chelsea's women have won the FA Cup final. There's been a try in the second Premiership semi-final. This is Sale Sharks against Leicester Tigers. Saracens beat Northampton yesterday. Here's Sarah Orchard.
Yeah, it's gone the way of Sale. They now lead 18-13 against the reigning champions, the Tigers here. They thought they were in for another one, but it was deemed that a pass to Rafi Quirks, he went over, was forward. So it's a 5-point game. You can listen to full commentary right now over on Sports Extra. A grandstand finish with 13 minutes to play. It is Sale 18, Leicester 13.
Gabriel Martinelli here at the Emirates Stadium in the sunshine, still receiving a bit of treatment, waiting to see whether Caicedo will get booked for the challenge. Let me just finish the Brighton lineup as well. We've done the back four. So Caicedo we've been talking about, Billy Gilmour alongside him, Mitoma on the right, Enciso, the young Paraguayan, on the left, and then Alexis McAllister in the hole, playing off Evan Ferguson. Yeah, and if Caicedo gets away without getting a yellow card here, I can't help feel, but it's Andrew Madley evening things up, as both teams have had one early on in this fixture. Yeah, but the problem with that then, Glenn, is someone is eventually going to get the first yellow card, and as soon as that's given, it's going to be, well, why didn't you give one? You know what I mean? You can lose control of it in a sense. Yeah, you can to a certain extent, but I can understand. I feel as though he missed the Mitoma one, and I think he's let that one slide because of that. Yeah, you're right. No yellow card for Caicedo. We're getting replays of the Martinelli challenge on Mitoma, which really doesn't look good. You can have a look for yourself tonight. Match of the day 2, BBC One at 10:30. Throw in for Brighton in their right back position. 9 minutes gone in the first half. Very stop-start in the early stages here because of the challenges, and Ødegaard getting smacked in the face with the ball as well. So the game yet really to develop any rhythm. Once it does though, Glenn, and if it does, we are watching two of the best teams in the Premier League. In terms of watching beautiful football, hopefully we're going to be in for a treat today.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Brighton are concerned, I feel as though they try and impose their style on whoever they come up against. And as for Arsenal, their last 6 home appearances here at the Emirates, well, they've scored 3 goals in each and every one of them. So, I mean, I expect goals in this game, Ali, to say the least. Ball
forward from midfield from Gilmour is overhit. Mitoma can't get that. It's straight into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale.
Cue a 0-0.
Exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right though about Arsenal's recent scoring at home. If they manage 3 or more for a 7th consecutive game, that equals a club record set all the way back in 1950. Here's Ramsdale, who sees an opportunity to drive the ball long down the field. Jesus lost the initial header. It's fallen to Saka. Saka on the turn is away from his man, and the ball comes out of Ben White, who miscues the cross and just dribbles it straight into the arms of Jason Steele.
Yes, Ben White there, that ball just rolling nicely into his path. I think he's looking to curl it back into that corridor of opportunity. Doesn't get any curl on it, goes straight right into Jason Steele's arms.
I know you don't have to set it yet. You've got a quiz question, haven't you?
Yeah,
for me and the listeners today.
Yeah,
so we'll hold on to that for a sec, Glenn. And I'm not going to look over your shoulder because I can see you've got it scribbled down there on the left. Here's Steele, edge of his penalty area. The Brighton goalkeeper plays it to Colwill inside his own half up towards McAllister. Arsenal starting to press here. Colwill comes back to his goalkeeper Steele, who's all in black. Left-footed pass very nearly into the path of Xhaka, and the goal was completely unguarded. Just got away with it. Ball over the top for Enciso to chase. What a ball as well. Enciso against White on his right foot. The Paraguayan drives it with his left, and Ramsdale from the angle tips it over the bar. Brighton corner.
Well, talk about getting your rewards for taking a risk at the back. I mean, Jason Steele, it was so close to being cut out, but eventually Brighton get out right down the other end, and Enciso bursts into the 18-yard box, cuts onto his left foot, goes for Ramsdale's near top corner, but the goalkeeper's equal to it, and we've got a corner at the other end.
We do. We'll deal with this corner, then we'll be back to Sarah Orchard with the Rugby Union Premiership semi-final. Jason Steele, who didn't have the best of days in the 5-1 defeat against Everton, his heart would have been in his mouth for a second there, because had Xhaka controlled it, it was an empty net. He would have just rolled it in. Corner then for Brighton at the other end of the field. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. 12 minutes gone in the first half. In it comes from the left. Oh, and the whistle's blown. I'm thinking, what's Ben White doing there?
No,
punching it with his left arm.
It's Xhaka and Lewis Dunk. I mean, it looked at one point like Xhaka was rugby tackling Lewis Dunk as he was backpedaling out of the box away from the goal. But I just think that the referee just ticking both players off and saying, less contact, let's get on with it, boys.
Yeah. Two big personalities leading their teams in battle, and Xhaka and Dunk just want to continue the conversation as well. Lewis Dunk at the moment is standing just behind Billy Gilmour, who's like a shield on the penalty spot.
Hiding behind the littlest guy in the pitch.
Exactly. And Brighton will get the chance to take the corner again. Pascal Gross in his bright orange boots lifts his right arm in the air. Enciso offers in the short option, but he curls it in again to the near post. Headed away across the face of the penalty area for Arsenal, and Martinelli is onto it. Martinelli's recovered well from the Caicedo challenge. Speedster on the left-hand side. Drew in the Brighton men. Xhaka's slightly overrun it. Slides forward. He's lost the ball. Gilmour to McAllister. McAllister now starts a dribble, moving right to left inside the Arsenal half. Finds Estupinian, who points where he wants Billy Gilmour to run, and Gilmour has to stretch to get that. Does well though, floats a pass over the head of Martinelli. And here's the man, the king of the dribble, Mitoma, on the right. Back to Caicedo. Gross plays back to the halfway line. Here's Lewis Dunk across the halfway line to Levi Colwill, and things have settled down. So let's head back to Sarah Orchard watching Sale against Leicester.
It's Sale 21, Leicester 13, so it's an 8-point game. If the reigning champions Leicester are going to do this, they've got to score a try and some to actually get there. Time is running out, and George Ford, the former Leicester fly half, is running rings round them at the moment for his new club Sale. It's Sale 21, Leicester 13, 7 minutes to play.
Commentary continues over on Sports Extra. The howls of derision you heard here because Brighton have won a free kick for a challenge on Julio Enciso from Ben White, right under the nose of Mikel Arteta. Didn't particularly like the decision, has a word with the fourth official, and that finishes. That's Darren England down there with a high five between the two of them.
Yeah, a bit too friendly for my liking, that was, Ali. No, I think that's one battle we're going to have to watch in this fixture. Enciso and Ben White. Ben White very aggressive. Enciso likes to entice his opponents with tricks and twists, and he gets the better of the Arsenal man there.
Yeah, they've got some lovely players at Brighton, great movers on the ball like Matoma and Enciso. Enciso's just drifting over to the right here, Matoma's coming over to the left. They've taken the free kick short, 14 minutes gone. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. McAllister plays to his right, then Gilmour's ball into the box, headed away by Kivior. Ødegaard, lovely first time touch to control it, plays it to Xhaka. Martinelli's away down the middle. Xhaka couldn't release the pass, challenge on him from Enciso, and Arsenal get a free kick. They want to go quickly, and Gabriel with his left foot just plays it straight to Ødegaard. Ødegaard, lovely stroke of the ball with his left boot, finds Saka. Saka drops a shoulder, moves in from the right wing. Jesus lays it off to Ødegaard, lines up the shot, drives it low, just wide of the left-hand post. That'll be a goal kick for Brighton.
Brilliant play by Arsenal. Saka into Jesus, drops it off to Ødegaard, has a touch, drills it low and hard, just past the left-hand post of Jason Steele's goal. But that's what Arsenal want. You said there on the free kick, they get it moving quickly. I think they just want to try and find their groove, get into their rhythm, and that there certainly was.
So Brighton goes short from the goal kick. Colwell's there, fires a low pass at Lewis Dunk. He's just outside his own 6-yard box. He's trying to entice Arsenal players in, plays back to Colwell. Colwell up the inside left channel to McAllister. Estupinian to Gilmour, and Brighton have it, but still just outside their own penalty area. Edge of the D is Colwell, and he slowed it down to walking pace again. Rolls it forward to Gilmour. First time pass back to Dunk to Gilmour. A couple of red and white shirts around him, but he's got the presence of mind to know where they are. Knew he had time, and plays back to Steele. Steele just rolling the ball underneath the studs of his right foot 3 or 4 times. Then he looks for the release ball down the right hand side. It was good. Caicedo chasing, just appeared from nowhere on the right. Ramsdale clears. Martinelli wins a header. Got a little barge in the back there as he did so from Ferguson, who's not really been involved in the game so far. Just wanted to make a challenge. I think that'll be a free kick for Arsenal.
No, and the way that Brighton created that space for Caicedo to run down the right hand side, Mitoma rolled right in. Jason Steele knew exactly what was going on, just his pass wasn't quite right. It was a little bit central. Ramsdale comes, clears it all up, and that is a free kick by Evan Ferguson, rightfully so.
Just to repeat again what we were saying at the start of the commentary, in case you weren't with us, an Arsenal draw today, so currently 0-0, would have them on 82 points. Were they to win their last 2 games, it would take them to 88. Manchester City are on 85, so one more win takes them to 88, and their goal difference is vastly superior. So Arsenal really needing the win. Have to win the last 3 games, you feel, and then hope that Manchester City slip up. Ødegaard trying to poke a little ball through for Saka. Estupinian reads it. Saka gets a foot on it though as Estupinian tries to clear. Brighton start to play out again. McAllister can't find Enciso. Ødegaard jumps in to try and win it just inside the Brighton half. It now falls to Enciso. Lovely ball with the outside of his right foot to find Ferguson. Ferguson just outside the penalty area. A little step over. Gabriel makes the tackle, and the throw-in goes Arsenal's way from the right back position. Just about level with the edge of their own box. Still Arsenal 0. Brighton 0. Oh, is that Martinelli down again?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah, on one of the left-hand side.
So we've had 2 on him, haven't we? There was the one on the ankle early on from Caicedo, and then there was Ferguson sort of jumped into him when he went to win a header, and he stayed down a little bit after that one. So he's feeling the after effects, and of course, if he comes off, which he's about to, look who's coming on. Former Brighton man. There we go.
Leandro Trossard on the edge, stripped and ready to go, number 19.
Yeah, so that just adds another little twist to the narrative, doesn't it? Obviously left Brighton in January to come to Arsenal. It
certainly does. As I was doing my homework for the game, and Leandro Trossard is still Brighton's 3rd top scorer this season.
Okay, behind? I should know that.
Joint with March, Matoma, behind Gross and McAllister.
Very good, thank you. Okay. Well, that's a shame. That's a real shame. We're not going to see any more of Gabriel Martinelli. He's taken a couple of early blows in the game.
Can't help but feel it was the first one from Caicedo.
Yeah. Yes, no, I totally agree, Glenn. Now, Arsenal, next game is next Saturday away to Nottingham Forest, and they finish the season at home to Wolves. But Martinelli's been in fabulous goal-scoring form for them this season. Hobbling off, yeah, you're right. It's got to be the knock he took on the ankle from the Caicedo challenge. I think he's okay. He's dejected. He just doesn't want to risk it. He's not moving freely, and he's deciding not to take a risk. And they do have a very capable replacement there. Different type of player, but Trossard is, you know, is a very more than adequate replacement for Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah, and I just see that Brighton have made another slight adjustment to their formation. Pascal Gross has gone into midfield, and now Caicedo's right back, so he is the one that's going to be tasked with stopping Trossard.
Okay, and he's got a bit of defending to do now because Tierney's galloping away down the left and he's playing the ball to Trossard. Nothing Trossard can do with that. It sort of hits him on the heels.
Terrible
He goes
pass.
straight out for exactly. Goes straight out for a throw-in. Glenn Murray, former Brighton striker amongst others, with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service this afternoon. Moises Caicedo now seems to be getting a bit of massage here from a teammate, which is slowing the game down.
Do you know what I think it was? I think
just a little knot. Do you think, Glenn?
No. I think he was replacing something in between his shoulder blades, so they can monitor how far he runs and things.
Okay.
I think that's what it was.
Okay.
There's no hiding as a professional footballer these days, unfortunately, Ali.
No. Little chip that gives you all the stats on the running and the ground you've covered. Colwill back to Steele, and again Brighton defending that goal away to our right, trying to draw Arsenal in. Ødegaard comes scuttling across in front of Colwill. Estupiñán lets the ball run across his body, tries to get away from Saka. Saka doesn't allow that. It's back to Colwill. 20 minutes played in the first half. Ball up the middle. Gabriel reads it, gets an interception on it. It then breaks loose on the halfway line. Tierney comes across in Gabriel's absence, plays it back to Kivior. And Kivior looks up and just plays to his right to Ben White. Here's Ødegaard. Lovely little movement of the body turn. Saka got a shove from Estupiñán. That's what the referee's saying, with both arms out, just mimicking the shove, and that'll be a free kick for Arsenal. That's another good battle to watch actually this afternoon as well. Saka against Estupiñán. Now then, Arsenal have taken another quick free kick. Ødegaard to Jesus. Jorginho couldn't do much with the pass back to him. Now Jorginho's down hurt. Ferguson was fouled. Brighton are about to get a free kick, but that's another problem for Arsenal. Jorginho seems in some pain.
That's a big problem, that, for Jorginho, because there was no one around him. He just checked on the spot and he went down. He's holding his knee, or I think that's what happened. But now he seems to have his sock down. He's pointing towards the referee like he's been kicked, but he seemed to be no one there near him, did he, Ali?
No, well, we'll have a look. But you're right, Jorginho's complaining as if he got caught on the back of the calf, and he's rolled the sock down as if to say, well, how on earth do I get that mark if there's not a terrible challenge on me? Granit Xhaka's sort of trying to help him to his feet, and Jorginho just waves him away as well.
Well, how far are we into the game? We're 21 minutes into the game. I don't think we'll have played more than 10 minutes here.
It's a good point. We've not had rhythm in the game. And just looking at the early stats on the BBC Sport website, Brighton have almost 70% possession so far in the first quarter of the game. They had 78% possession against Everton on Monday and lost the game by 5-1. That's a lovely ball. Incisive pass from Gilmour to Enciso. Unfortunately, Enciso offside, so Arsenal will have a free kick and a chance to clear their lines. But you're right, Glenn, that the game has not had a chance to get going at all yet.
And I think that probably benefits Brighton, to be honest. You don't want to let Arsenal get in their stride here at home. Like we said, they've scored 3 goals on the last 6 appearances here, so
yeah.
I imagine that Mikel Arteta will be quite frustrated with his squad, because it seems to be their players that are going down more than anyone's.
Games coming thick and fast for Brighton, of course. They've got all the games in hand, but you've got to play them, and there's not long left in the season to do so. Long ball driven downfield by Kivior. Saka will chase it. Estupiñán ducked underneath it, and he wants the ball to have enough on it to go behind. Saka's robbed him on the byline. Still Saka gets away from him, shoots, bends it against the post. Flag was up. The assistant referee said it had gone behind. It had just crossed the line. But again, Brighton living dangerously at the back.
Well, I did see the linesman put his flag up there, Ali, but I just let you get excited for a second there.
You thought the listeners needed something after the first 20 minutes or so?
Do you know what? From where we sat, that did not look like it had gone out. I mean, we are a long way. We're just going to see a replay now as Estupiñán shepherds it out, and the ball's running out of legs. Yeah, oh, that's tight.
Just over, wasn't it? Yeah. Assistant referee on it. Now, there's a good tackle on McAllister. Arsenal again robbing Brighton high up the field. Jesus down to the byline on the right, driven shot, and Steele blocks it with his leg at the near post. Corner for Arsenal.
Yes. Jesus shooting from a very tight angle, even though Jason Steele's equal to the effort. I'm not actually sure it's on target, or if it's going to whip right across the goal line.
So corner Arsenal will come in from the right. Bukayo Saka will take it. Little section of fans down there in the lower tier away to our right. That's the clock end of the ground, the old famous simple white face clock above the goal. They're all dressed in black down there, beating the drums, and flags are waving. Corner for Arsenal, still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Saka curls it high with his left foot, headed off the goal line. Mitoma's there to clear on the half volley. Saka's going to try and keep that clearance in. Ball spins in front of him, kills it stone dead, whips another cross into the area. That's headed away to the edge of the box. Here's Xhaka. Xhaka, little sideways pass. There's Trossard. Trossard to Jesus, goes for the scoop ball into the box, read by Gilmour. And Gilmour takes a touch, then clears, blocked by Trossard, and it goes behind for a goal kick to Brighton. Billy Gilmour, I'll come back to that in a second because the full-time whistle has blown in the rugby. Here's Sarah Orchard.
Sale are going to Twickenham. They have managed to beat Leicester 21 points to 13. It's going to be Sale against Saracens in the big dance in a fortnight's time. It'll be first versus second in the table. And for Sale, they have done it all through their fly half. George Ford, he knocks out his former club. It is Sale who go to Twickenham. Full score, Sale 21, Leicester 13.
Thank you, Sarah. 20 minutes remaining in the first half in the sunshine here at the Emirates Stadium. cagey so far. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Lewis Dunk trotting forward with the ball. Nice measured pass to his right, finds Caicedo now in this right back position. Pascal Gross in the midfield alongside Billy Gilmour as the two. Dunk gets it back. Long shadows of the stadium roof stretching out over half of the pitch in front of us. Colwell all in shade though, plays his pass to Enciso, and Saka's come back to help out with the defending. Enciso plays back to McAllister, just 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. Curling cross in towards Pascal Gross, who made a run forward from midfield. It's headed back to Aaron Ramsdale.
Yes, Brighton probing, can't quite break this Arsenal team down. Arsenal sitting in and letting Brighton have possession, sitting in their structure, in their formation, and Brighton can't quite find that killer pass, can they?
No, not yet. Ramsdale has the ball at his feet.
And exactly the same the other side now.
Yeah. Ramsdale tries to thread one right down the middle of the pitch, and he picks the pass perfectly. Saka, nice control, and then opens it up to the left. Trossard, Tierney bombing past him on the outside. Trossard ducks back onto his right foot. Mitoma, good defending for Brighton, got a foot in. Second tackle on Trossard, has run into another challenge here from Ferguson. Ferguson, the big burly centre forward, brings it forward. There's Gilmour stretching, tackled in midfield, and Brighton get the free kick. And Granit Xhaka is absolutely livid, leaps to his feet and goes racing at the referee to complain about the decision.
And do you know what, as Granit Xhaka's bounced up off the top there, I totally agree with him, because I think he gets his foot there first. Gilmour kicks the back of his ankle, but the foul goes the opposite way. I think the referee was wrong, and Granit Xhaka was right in that instance.
I was just about to say, Glenn, about Billy Gilmour. This is only a 5th Premier League start of the season for him, and you sort of understand that given the form that Brighton have shown and some of the players within the squad. He was very impressive, wasn't he, in the 6-0 win against Wolves recently, and he does give Brighton another option in there. Yeah,
he does. He had to wait a long time for his opportunity, and he sat there for quite a while, and I'm sure he questioned the move at points, but his opportunities arisen and he's taken it with both hands, and all of a sudden he looks very comfortable in that Brighton midfield.
Arsenal have tried to play out from the back, and Ramsdale's overcooked one, diagonal ball out to the right, and it's gone straight out for a throw, but Mikel Arteta, as if to encourage his goalkeeper, saying that was the right thing to do, pointedly applauds him from a distance. Arteta is in black jumper, grey trousers, black shoes.
I was just going to mention that, because these derbies dressed very similarly, and I think sparks could fly between those two this afternoon.
Enciso dances infield, looking for a little 1-2 with McAllister, couldn't get it back to him. Enciso's down, but Saka just too strong for him, ran him off the ball. Ødegaard's overrun it inside his own half. Brighton win it back. Gilmour with the challenge, and now it's with Colwell.
That's one thing Brighton have done really well so far, is stop that Arsenal attack very early on, win the ball back, get their foot on the ball, and that's why the possession is so high.
Arsenal rings around the Emirates Stadium, still chasing Manchester City at the top of the table. Manchester City beating Everton by 3-0 at Goodison Park. 85 points they're on, Arsenal are on 81. The ball's out for a Brighton throw.
Here's one for you, Ali, as we've got a little break in play.
Yep.
Arsenal have won 11 of their last 12 Premier League home fixtures in May, only dropping points against...
in May. Oh, right, against Brighton last season. Was it?
No, I think it was 2 seasons ago. 1-1 it was.
I should have known it. Very good, Glenn.
He scored that afternoon, Ali.
Did you now? There we go. That's why he's included it.
No, do you know what? It was very similar circumstances. Arsenal were trying to get into the Champions League. I think it was 2 or 3 games before the end of the season.
Yep.
And that year, Tottenham got in.
Ah, yeah. So what was this? Did you win 2-1?
No, we drew 1-1.
Drew 1-1. Okay. And what was the goal like? Your goal?
It was a really, really good one.
Of course it was. Jorginho's clipped by Gilmour in midfield. 10 yards inside the Brighton half, and you can hear the Arsenal fans bawling for a yellow card. But because we didn't get the early yellows, I don't think Gilmour's going to get booked for that. He's not.
No, he's not. I think, and that noise from Arsenal wasn't just about the yellow card. It's a little bit of frustration starting to just rear its head in the Emirates.
Just 15 minutes remaining in the first half. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Enciso, surrounded by red and white shirts, slithers his way through and out of trouble, eventually loses it. Kivior, that's a nice pass to Ødegaard. Ødegaard sees Xhaka moving up alongside him. Xhaka to his left finds Trossard. Trossard, edge of the area, dummies and shoots and clips the bar, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yes, Leandro Trossard, he picks it up on that left-hand side. He's got one thought, he cuts inside, he wants to get his shot off, he has another touch, lines it up, hits it. I feel as though the back of the net's going to bulge, but he just gets underneath it, skims off the bar and over the top.
Just the one goal for Leandro Trossard so far for Arsenal. That came in a 1-1 draw at home against Brentford.
But
go on, you go on.
No, I was just going to say 8 assists, and that's the joint most in the Premier League while he's been here.
He's all over it.
That was alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Very good. Glenn Steele again causing the Brighton fans a few worries, nearly getting the ball caught under his feet inside his 6-yard box. Mitoma gets onto a long ball forward, and then just a little bit too much on the pass. It gets away from Enciso. But a couple of times there, you can see what they're doing, Brighton. You pointed this out, Glenn, sort of trying to draw Arsenal in. Then they go with the longer one. You've got the runners coming in from the flanks on the diagonal. Yeah,
I think Evan Ferguson's dropping in like that, almost that Firmino role. And then Enciso, Mitoma stretching the play.
Lewis Dunk. Ferguson coming back from an offside position. He was too late back into position there. He was trying to play as the link man. Arsenal wanted to take the free kick quickly, not from the right position. Again, you can hear that frustration building within the stadium, and it remains Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. We promised you a cracker, we promised you goals, but not to be as yet. But plenty on it for both teams. And here's Ødegaard on the turn, just outside his own box, closed down quickly. That's Colwill, the centre-back, who closes Ødegaard down as the furthest man up the pitch for Brighton.
Yeah,
wow.
Roberto De Zerbi gives him that licence to step all the way in, and I suspect that's why we see Ødegaard trying to get in his 18-yard box, trying to shake Colwill. But Colwill goes all the way.
Yeah, just on the slight difference in managers' outfits, you pointed it out, Glenn. Very similar sort of dark colours, but it's a trainer, it's a white trainer for De Zerbi, and the t-shirt under the jumper is just slightly untucked. Almost, it's almost making a point, that isn't it? Just a bit more casual, that than
more terrace fashion.
Yeah, exactly. 13 minutes remaining in the first half. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Colwill looking for one over the top. Estupinian will give chase. That will hold up for him, so he controls it down by the byline on the left. Ben White's there, patrolling him for Arsenal. Played back to McAllister. McAllister sweeps it low across the pitch to Dunk, 30 yards out in a central position. Caicedo, quick 1-2 with Mitoma. It's now out on the right for Brighton. Trossard comes edging towards Caicedo, and Brighton play it back to the halfway line. Here's Pascal Gross involved in the move. Dunk backpedaling, receives the ball from him towards Gilmour. Just turned round the corner first time. Gross with the outside of his right foot to McAllister. Lovely interplay from Brighton here. Now Enciso on the dribble, harried by Jorginho, tries to lay it back to Estupinian. Jorginho's there, he's fouled by Estupinian. Free kick for Arsenal, but some of the passing from Brighton was lovely.
Yeah, really good, working it around that Arsenal 18-yard box, but just a little bit of experience there from Jorginho. When he gets the ball, just buys that free kick, takes the pressure off his side, and Arsenal get to reset.
So free kick Arsenal, 0-0 here against Brighton. Manchester City 3-0 winners against Everton. İlkay Gundogan with 2, Erling Haaland with 1, and Brentford beating a much-changed West Ham team by 2-0. West Ham aren't mathematically safe as yet, 6 points clear of the bottom 3, but obviously a huge game coming up on Thursday. Saka's down. First yellow card in the game is going to go to Pervis Estupinian for a sort of totting up procedure there. Eventually Andrew Madley decides that's enough, and that's the first booking.
Well, that's the softest challenge of the afternoon, but you're right, it was a totting up process, and I think just one too many fouls on Saka, and I actually think he didn't need to make it because the ball was going over Saka, Tried to ease him under it a little bit more. Gives a soft free kick away, and in a very dangerous position, as we see. Martin Odegaard stood over it, and Leandro Trossard joining him.
I think Brighton felt that Dunk might have got a little nudge from Jesus, which then led to the next challenge. But anyway, it's been dealt with, and it's a free kick for Arsenal from the right, 10 yards in from the right-hand touchline, about 30 yards from goal. Brighton's defenders just holding the line just inside their own penalty area. And Jason Steele, the goalkeeper, sort of 4 yards off his line. So Trossard's looking to swing it in between defenders and goalkeeper. Like that, ball in, flick onto the far post, no one there, behind it goes for a goal kick to Brighton.
Yeah, and when Trossard's standing over that ball, that's the exact area he wants to hit. Brilliant ball in, can't quite get the contact on it. I think it's Granit Xhaka, and it goes out to safety.
Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. In terms of that relegation battle, tomorrow night is Leicester-Liverpool, so Leicester in the bottom 3, they're on 30 points. Everton having lost today on 32, just outside the bottom 3, and Leeds after their draw yesterday on 31 in 18th. We'll have updates on Leicester-Liverpool into the Monday Night Club tomorrow night. Free kick goes against Arsenal this time. Gabriel, adjudged to have fouled Evan Ferguson in the centre circle, and then we're back into the European football. The commentaries next week, Tuesday night, back at the San Siro. Inter 2-0 up on AC Milan. It's Inter's home game on Tuesday night. We're at the Etihad Stadium on Wednesday night. Manchester City against Real Madrid starts 1-1.
Are you at any of those, Ali?
I'm going to the Netherlands to all that back passes. They're going to be enough on it just to Jason Steele to watch Alkmaar. So we did the first game on Thursday to watch Alkmaar against West Ham. Matoma's been given one to chase up against Ben White, and he'll get there first. He lets the ball bounce 2 or 3 times, and now Ben White in front of him, trying to jink his way past. Yeah, he's done him. Down to the byline, left-footed ball right across the face of goal. Here we go, over the bar from Enciso, off balance, stumbling backwards, couldn't keep it down.
Yes, and it's Mitoma. He gets switched sides, put on the left, back into where he likes to be, stands Ben White up, couple of jinks, goes past him with relative ease, pulls it back into a very good area, falls eventually to Enciso, who should have done better, falls on his left foot, just falling back as he makes connection over the top. But that is a big opportunity for Brighton.
Yeah, best opportunity of the game so far. We're into the last 10 minutes of the first half. 5 live BBC Sounds in the World Service. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Jorginho in to win a tackle inside the Brighton half, caught by Billy Gilmour as he does so. Free kick for Arsenal. Billy Gilmour protests his innocence. 2 of the little midfield maestros having a battle.
Yes, former teammates.
Of course, at Chelsea. Exactly. Jorginho's okay, he's up. McAllister's just standing in the way so that Arsenal can't take a quick free kick.
Would you say the master and the apprentice?
Yeah, could do.
Very similar, Gilmour, isn't he?
Yeah, you'd have thought Gilmour would look at Jorginho definitely as a role model in the position he plays and the way he goes about the game. Here's Jorginho with the free kick for Arsenal. Red shirts with the white sleeves, white shorts and red socks. And Jorginho on the ball, looks right but goes left to Gabriel. Gabriel's closed down, comes back to Kivior. Kivior with the short, shaven dark hair to Ødegaard with the longer, lighter hair, wearing number 8 for Arsenal. On the turn inside his own half. What have you spotted there, Glenn, you're pointing out?
Well, it's Levi Colwill again, the highest Brighton player.
Yeah.
It looks almost like he's been given the job of one-on-one with Ødegaard this afternoon.
Right.
Man-on-man.
Ball forward into the Brighton half. Lewis Dunk clips it back to his goalkeeper, Steele. Steele's closed down by Jesus. Jesus tries to make the challenge. Dunk plays it across it to Gilmour. And they find a way out to Brighton, but at times it really is edgy your seat stuff. Here's Ferguson. Just gets away from him on the second touch, Evan Ferguson, and Arsenal able to play it back to Aaron Ramsdale. 7 minutes remaining in this first half. So where are we now? Where's Colwill? Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, you're right. Following Ødegaard deep into the Arsenal half.
Well, it's almost like Brighton have got a back 3 now and a 4 in front of that because he's so far forward.
So Ramsdale's going to try and take advantage of that and just go long down the middle of the pitch, and Saka on the stretch couldn't control it. It's particularly from this position, Glenn, where we're high up here at the Emirates Stadium, to watch a sort of tactical game play out like that is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, already Brighton have made a number of changes, so that's from what Roberto De Zerbi can see, and he's trying to change the game, isn't he? He's trying to get the advantage, and I think so far Brighton have probably settled better of the two sides.
Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. 6 minutes left in the first half here. Throw in for Brighton on the left, midway inside their own half. Estupinian just twizzling the ball in both hands between the fingertips. Goes for a longer one towards Ferguson. Gabriel leaps with him. Gabriel penalised. Mikel Arteta and Gabriel howl their frustration at that decision.
Yeah, that's becoming a battle there as well. Gabriel and Evan Ferguson, Brighton trying to pass through the thirds right into Evan Ferguson, but touch tight every time is Gabriel, and ended up in a couple of fouls in the last couple of occasions.
Colwill, having taken the free kick, comes back to his goalkeeper Steele on the edge of his penalty area. Gabriel Jesus is lurking, thinking about running towards him. Here he comes. Steele flicks the ball forward for himself, floats it out to the left. Mitoma's first time ball on the half volley back to Estupiñán, to Mitoma, casual touch, and then another half volley pass back to Colwill.
This space behind Ben White is somewhere that Brighton are trying to get in behind, and Enciso, Mitoma getting in there a couple of times, and I think it's due to
Steele, risky one, is giving the ball away. Trossard onto it, finds Jesus, turns on the edge of the box, floated ball to the far post. Saka volleys it back across goal, and it's cleared by Colwill to the edge of the box. Here's Estupiñán looking for the long ball over the top for Enciso. Intercepted, falls to Estupiñán again inside his own half. Then McAllister, cross to Dunk, back to Colwill, and everything calms down for a second or two. Enciso, first time ball, it opens up nicely. That spins and stays in play on the right. Caicedo looking for support. Enciso's continued the run on the outside. Caicedo to the corner of the Arsenal penalty area. Lots of Arsenal players back. Short pass to McAllister. Play back to Enciso. Stopped in his tracks by Jorginho. Cleared by Gabriel. Glenn Murray.
Good from Brighton, good from both sides. Arsenal just created an opportunity there. Saka, you'd think, would do a little bit better as that ball falls at the back, stick on the volley. He puts it back into the box rather than trying to swivel his hips and hit the target. But then Brighton, right off the back of that, some good positive play from Caicedo, bombing on from right full back, and eventually ending in Enciso tiptoeing his way into the box, and you never know what can happen when he gets on the ball.
That's how he moves, doesn't he? You're right, it is a tiptoe. Here's McAllister. McAllister bringing it forward for Brighton up to the edge of the Arsenal box. Lays it off to Mitoma, another one who tiptoes and dances and trying to make space on the edge of the box. Plays it across here to Gross. Gabriel Jesus back there with a challenge. Cleared only as far as Dunk inside the Arsenal half. Curls the ball out towards Enciso and over hits it, and out it goes for an Arsenal throw.
Yes, Lewis Dunk just hangs his head a little bit there, frustrated because it was an easy pass, one that he does on many occasions, and it's what his manager asks of him. He's almost like the quarterback sitting in the centre-back position here.
So this is full commentary of Arsenal-Brighton. Following us after 5 Live Sport tonight, 6:06 as always on a Sunday night. You can have your say. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, the number to dial. The lines will be open from half-time onwards. 08085 909 693. Granit Xhaka almost gave the ball away. Tierney down the line. Trossard battling with Caicedo. Caicedo penalised for catching him, so that'll be a free kick for Arsenal.
Well, while there's a little break in play, Ali, I've been told to ask how you're doing the head-to-head lead in the FPL this weekend.
I know who's asked you that. That's Kelly Summers, our colleague Kelly Summers, who's given me a right good hiding. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Glenn, for putting the question. Callum Wilson, she went for Callum Wilson as her captain, who stuck 2 penalties away, but such is the nature of the game, he was about to be taken off yesterday before Newcastle get that second penalty.
So you're saying you got beat with luck?
Had he not been, Isak might have taken that penalty. It's the way it goes, Glenn. You've just got to accept it, and the game week's not over yet.
Doesn't
either.
Sound like you're accepting it very well, to be honest.
I never do. Ramsdale clears with his left foot upfield. Trossard tries to control on the back heel. Couple of minutes left at the end of the first half. Still Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Brighton have it inside the Arsenal half on the right. Enciso has to stretch in his turquoise boots to try and keep the ball in. Back to Caicedo. Caicedo across to Dunk. Dunk inside his own half. Finds Colwill across to Estupiñán. Down the left to Mitoma. Estupiñán continues to run. Mitoma ignores that, uses it as a decoy. Ben White chases him all the way across the Arsenal half, and Mitoma's got to be careful not to lose it. Taps one back into his own half. Colwill really had to sprint to keep that ball in play. He's cleared it forward, and Ferguson might get the better of Kivior here. Ferguson, edge of the Arsenal area, shoots wide. Just hooks the shot just wide. He was such a handful for Kivior there, and it wouldn't quite sit down for him to get the clean strike. Glenn Murray.
And all that nice play that Brighton do around the 80-yard back. Sometimes a clearance, defender just gets the wrong side of the bounce, and Evan Ferguson in, and you know what, once he gets onto the edge of the 18-yard box there, the ball bounces nicely. He'll be disappointed he hasn't hit the target, and ask the question of Aaron Ramsdale.
Last minute of the first half, I'm sure at half time with Steve Crossman we'll be getting reaction to the the sport that's gone on so far today. Chelsea's women have won the FA Cup again, beaten Manchester United by 1-0. They're a point behind them as well in the Women's Super League with a game in hand as well, trying to do that domestic double. We'll be hearing from the Everton boss Sean Dyche after their 3-0 defeat at home to Manchester City, which has Manchester City 4 points clear of Arsenal, and West Ham boss David Moyes as well, his team beaten 2-0 at Brentford. So that's on the way. Bukayo Saka was down holding his knee, but he's back on his feet again. And Martinelli, of course, if you have just tuned in, had to go off early in this first half, which is why Trossard is on.
Yeah, but the caveat to that, Ali, was that it was Estepinian on Saka again. He's already got a yellow card from a totting up process. Most of those fouls have been on Saka, so starting to run a very thin line, walk a thin line, Estepinian.
Yeah, well, he's in my fantasy team as well, so I do not want a red card for him, because that's minus points, and he'd missed the next game. 5 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Free kick for Arsenal, but it has been so stop-start. That doesn't surprise me, actually. Here's Trossard. Trossard's low free kick bounces into the edge of the box. Awkward one for Pascal Gross. Stooping header goes behind for a corner to Arsenal. Still 0-0. Bukayo Saka just makes his way slowly to the corner flag on the right, throws both arms out as if to say, right lads, what are we doing with this one? Gabriel and Kivior are way beyond the far post for Arsenal, but quite close to the byline. In fact, there's 3 Arsenal players there, Jesus as well, and a couple in and around Jason Steele. Saka goes into the near post, and that's headed away by Ferguson. Ødegaard heads it to his right because he knows Saka is there. Saka controls it. Pass to Trossard on the right. Trossard stands the ball up to the far post. Attacked by Gabriel. Doesn't get a clean header. Falls to Jesus. Drives it across goal. Falls to Saka. Good first touch. Drives it low just wide. Sight of goal for Bukayo Saka. Couldn't find the bottom corner. Lots of bodies in the way as he hit it, and he hit it well. Just couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, he did. It was a brilliant touch from the young man to set himself. And like you say, there's a lot of traffic, so he just tried to drag it to his right hand side, Jason Steele's left, and I actually think it might just kiss the base of the post as it whizzes past the frame.
Goal kick Brighton. We know this can be fun and games because it has been in the first half. Steele goes short to dunk. Arsenal are interested this time, and like a pack of dogs they go hunting here. Ødegaard snapping into a challenge on Colwill. Didn't make the tackle, but it ran to Jorginho. Ødegaard looking to win another one. Kivior's header across the Brighton half, intercepted by Ferguson. Lobs the ball out to the right to Enciso. Tierney deals with it. Here's Caicedo. Pass blocked, but it falls to McAllister just outside the Arsenal half. Estupinian runs beyond him. Intercepted by Arsenal. Ødegaard twisting and turning on the edge of his own box. Chased there by Billy Gilmore. Back it comes to Kivior. Jorginho helps out and plays a first-time ball to Saka. Lines already open for 6:06. So book your calls now. 08085 909 693. Chris Sutton, part of the show as always. We'll be waiting to take your calls this evening, and he'll be on with Steve at half-time, so he can give us a little idea of what he might want to talk about. I've got a feeling Chris was playing cricket this weekend, first game of cricket for quite a while, so I think one of the questions might be, how did you get on, Chris? I'll be interested to know, because I think back in the day Chris was a decent cricketer, good player. Here's Trossard. Hang on, how can he be offside? That was from a throw. Flag goes down again. There is Trossard battling for the ball on the left. He's overrun it anyway. I think the assistant referee realised his mistake and put the flag down very quickly there. Loads of fans behind us making the point as well. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Trossard's still down, but Arsenal come forward. Xhaka to Ødegaard. Saka wants it at the far post. Still Ødegaard drives the shot low across the face of goal and behind for a goal kick. Glenn Murray.
Well, Ødegaard just seemed to waltz into Brighton's box there, unopposed, and he thought, why not take the shot? The angle was a little bit tight and he drives it just off target. Jason Steele now has the ball at his feet, and that's another opportunity for Arsenal.
Few coming for them at the end of the first half. Ødegaard looks like somebody who's probably got a waltz in him as well. Glenn, waltz is the perfect term for Ødegaard. He just strikes me as someone who could be dressed very dapper and, maybe
Scandinavian style.
Colwill playing out towards McAllister. McAllister under pressure from Jorginho, holds him off inside his own half. Stocky figure, tries to roll Jorginho, run down the left. He's conceded a throw. McAllister throws the ball away. Referee didn't see it. He turned his back, and the Arsenal fans.
I'm not sure he did turn his back. I think he just turned his head as if to say, I didn't see that. I didn't want to see that.
Jorginho to the right to Ben White. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Plenty to play for in this second half. Second half commentary to come. and then 6:06 after that. Here's Aaron Ramsdale, short sleeve, bright yellow goalkeeping shirt, curling pass down the middle of the field. Trossard controls, ball out to Saka. Saka jumps to control it on his chest. Saka against Estupinian. He'll fancy this because the Ecuadorian's on a yellow card. He gets past him on the right. There's the cutback, blocked at the near post by Colwill. Had he not been there, Colwill, Ødegaard was waiting to control and try and stick that into the back of the net. 30 seconds remaining at the end of the first half. McAllister's given the ball away with a little back heel to no one. That could be dangerous for Brighton right at the end of this first half. Ødegaard just gets the ball caught underneath his feet. Low pass to the right to Saka. Ben White on the outside, crosses in. Dunk heads it away. Little cushioned header to Mitoma. Chests it down. Volleys the ball high into the air. 10 seconds remaining in the half. Kivior heads it away. Ferguson chests it. Gabriel in with the challenge. Ferguson basically tried to drag Gabriel down and ended up down himself. And the half-time whistle does blow. And it was a first half that took a while to get going. A few late chances for Arsenal towards the end of the half. Enciso off balance, not one over the bar from close range for Brighton. Not really suiting either team. Point better for Brighton than for Arsenal. Glenn Murray, your thoughts at half-time with us at 0-0.
Well, I think that Brighton have had the lion's share of possession, that they've probably dominated the tie so far, I think, in that regard. But Arsenal have been very respectful. They've waited, they've set traps, and they've let Brighton make their own mistakes, I feel, in their own final third. But Arsenal finished quite strong there, Ali.
Yeah, Manchester City 3-0 winners at Goodison Park, which means that Arsenal need a win. Not being able to find a way through in the first half. Half-time here, Steve. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
But Glenn, so far so good for Brighton.
So far so good for both teams, Steve, no? They're both still in it.
No, because Arsenal want to win.
Oh, well, yeah. But
good point for Brighton.
Do you expect them to blow them away in the first half?
No, but I think Brighton will be happier with the half-time score than Arsenal are, won't they?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's been pretty even, I think, Steve. I think there's a lot of football to be played in this, and there's been some real quality on show, especially in the middle of the park. But just those final thirds, maybe a little bit lacking from both sides.
Do you know what, Glenn? I was just trying to give you a chance to wax lyrical about Brighton after I upset you earlier by trying to sell all their players.
Impartiality, Steve. You know me.
Ali, before we let you go, ABB, just your initials or also your A-level grades?
Not quite my A-level grades, actually.
Come on, Steve.
You do better?
Triple A, isn't it?
No, it wasn't Triple A. It was AAB.
Very good. So were mine, actually. The only reason I mention that for this tedious link is that on Stephen Nolan's show later tonight at 9 o'clock, the focus is all about exams, and they're going to be experts on the show with lots of really good advice for students who might be worried about up-and-coming GCSEs and A-levels.
I really hope Chris Sutton hasn't heard that little bit we just done there, though, Steve.
Why?
He'll be all over me for that.
What was he being?
Huh?
What was he being?
French.
Poor, very poor, Ali. Hello, we'll be back with Glenn and Ali for second half commentary. Listen, this is what we do at the Emirates, where it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. By the way, while I'm talking about other shows on the network, on breakfast tomorrow, Chris Warburton and Rachel Burden will have the Arsenal legend David Seaman with them. So his mood might well be dictated by what happens in second half commentary. We have got Sean Dyche on the way after Everton's 3-0 defeat to Manchester City, and Emma Hayes after Chelsea's women's team won the FA Cup. All of that to come after the news with Joe Critcher.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Counting has begun in one of Turkey's most critical elections, which will decide if President Erdogan should remain in power after 20 years. Inflation is running at more than 40%, and the country is still reeling from 2 earthquakes in February. Around 20,000 Southern Water customers in West Sussex are still without water. The company says it had to shut a supply plant because of low levels of chlorine. It's now giving out bottled water to residents. 2 17-year-old boys have been charged with murdering a third teenager in Sheffield. Adam Abdul Basit, who was 19, was found with a stab wound in the Woodhouse area of the city last Monday. Gatwick Airport was forced to shut one of its runways for nearly an hour earlier as it investigated sightings of a suspected drone near the airfield. Some planes had to be diverted to other airports. And the best shows and actors on British television will go head-to-head this evening at the BAFTA TV Awards in London. This is Going to Hurt, and The Responder lead the nominations.
Break into a world of true crime on BBC Sounds with Lucy Worsley's Lady Killers.
This is the story of how an ordinary woman who witnessed the killing of her husband found herself on trial for his murder.
and the Lazarus heist.
Soon, millions of dollars worth of banknotes are spilling out of cash points around the world.
True crime podcasts. Listen on BBC Sounds.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Lives Premier League Sunday
With Steve Crossman.
Lines are open for 606 08085 909 693 is the number to call to speak to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. They'll be with you once we are done at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0 at half time. Earlier on, relegation threatened Everton, lost 3-0 to Manchester City. Here's their manager, Sean Dyche.
You know, you've got to take your chance, especially against the top sides, you know, because you don't get that many. And I think Lance Mason is a really good chance. I thought we looked a threat from set pieces, which you have to do against sides like this. And the feel of the game was good until their first goal. And like I say, they react very quickly for the second. We don't. And then it's tough from there on in. And even the third, you know, I mean, one thing I was saying to the players, people forget about Man City. It's not just their prowess with the ball. You know, they knock it forward and header inside. 5 of them are driving forward. You know, they're absolutely driving for the chance to go and score a goal. They get a free kick and then score from that. And, you know, that's a sign of a top side. It's not just their play when they're in possession. It's what they're doing out of possession. What they're doing when they have to change their style, which they did. And that's why they're a top side, because they can affect it. Changes from the bench, changes the day before the game. I mean, you know, they're the real deal, and that's why they do what they do.
You have so much experience of being in these situations, knowing what you need to do. Is it about now going to Wolves and getting that result?
It's about the mentality of that performance, because you know, you come away from there, there's no lack of effort, there's no lack of will, there's no lack of understanding about the performance. It's you've played a top side, and they do what top sides do. They've got players who can score from all over the pitch, and they've got different ways of scoring goals. They've shown that so many times. So there has to be a reality to the challenge. Doesn't make the next one easier, by the way, but there still has to be a reality. You know, these are tough sides to play against, and they proved that today. But a lot of our performance are right. I mean, I thought Dwight McNeil was outstanding. I thought Duke's constant running and energy. And Demanis O'Connor came on and affected the game. You know, and there's some really big performances. But you come away playing against a top side, and they punish you if you make errors, and the errors we made, they did punish us.
Sean Dyche for Juliet Farrington. Bottom of the Premier League table looks like this. Southampton gone, 24 points. Leicester second bottom on 30 with a game in hand. Then Leeds on 31 complete the relegation zone. Everton 1 point above them with Wolves away and Bournemouth at home to come to wrap up their season. 08085 909 693. Get your call booked in now. Chris Sutton's with us. Afternoon, Chris.
Hi, Steve. You okay?
Yeah, good. How'd your cricket go?
No, we didn't play. It's rained off, Steve. I don't know if you've seen the weather forecast this last week. It's been awful, hasn't it? Well, can I just say well done for your A-level results?
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
Bit egotistical that, you and Bruce doing that on national radio?
Probably more than a bit, I'd say, Chris, if we're being honest.
Well done.
But here we are. What do you think about Everton then? I've just done the fixtures. Wolves away, Bournemouth at home. Do you think that they'll get enough?
I think Everton have given themselves a chance because of the win at Brighton, which I don't think anybody really expected. It's so tight. Look, I mean, sort of my gut feeling now is Leicester and Leeds are going to go. I think Leeds, I mean, they got the point yesterday. I think they needed all 3 points. Leicester have Liverpool and then Newcastle, and Newcastle will still need a couple of points, won't they? I suspect for the Champions League places. So I think, I think it's Leicester and Leeds. But Everton, I think they'd look at, if you're an Everton fan, you'd look at those last couple of fixtures and think, you know, we've got a chance now.
West Ham are the interesting one in this, given they made 9 changes today, because Leicester have still got them at home, and Leeds' next game is away to West Ham.
Yeah, but Leeds, just with the goal difference, Leeds can't really overtake West Ham, can they?
No, sorry, I didn't mean for West Ham. I meant West Ham's influence on the rest of the relegation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think West Ham technically still can go down, but I mean, they're obviously looking forward to the Europa Conference game in the week against RZ Alkmaar, aren't they? So, you know, I sort of understand the changes, and that one against Manchester United where De Gea chucked one in. I mean, that was a massive win for them, weren't they? And Manchester City, I mean, how is anybody going to stop them? This is a massive second half for Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah. Who do you want to hear from then, Chris?
But want to hear from Manchester City fans. Do they think it's already done? Arsenal fans, I mean, you know, it depends what happens in the second half. But if you don't get a win, then that's going to be over. Chelsea fans, Pochettino in the door. I mean, can Chelsea challenge for a title next season? I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
Sure, why not? Maurizio Pochettino in charge. Yeah.
Right, so Chelsea can challenge for a title. Steve
Yeah, why
Crossman
not?
said, I'll write that down.
Don't. You sound like Robbie when you do that.
I know. I'm not as petty as him, Steve.
Did they do GCSEs in your era or O-levels?
GCSEs, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't do A-levels, though, Steve. I just became a footballer instead.
Yeah, fair enough. You win. Chris, thank you.
Cheers, Steve.
Chris will be on 606 with Robbie once we're done at the Emirates. Brentford have secured their first top-flight finish since 1938 after a 2-0 win over West Ham. But David Moyes, as I just said, made all of those changes, 9 of them because of the semi-final with Alkmaar on Thursday. Let's hear what he had to say, shall we?
Obviously, I'm disappointed, but you know, we make 8 or 9 changes, and obviously that can upset the balance of the team a little bit. We did, but I'm more disappointed with the goals we gave away. The first goal was terrible. You can lose a goal against this team from a long throw. They'd threatened us 2 or 3 times from them, but the first goal was really took the wind out, and that's where it sort of started to unravel a little bit.
The prospect of taking a lead into a European semi-final second leg. This is a big week ahead. Can you feel the excitement around among the supporters?
Well, not today at the moment. I can't, because I've just finished a game today, but I know what we have to do, and we'll have to play really, really well. But until I get myself ready, get this one out of the way, which we have to do, try and get some explanation onto some of the decisions today, might clear it up. But obviously, when you make a lot of changes that we did today, 8 or 9 changes, then you're always going to be disrupted by it.
Did it tell you anything today about the squad in general and thoughts ahead for next year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I'll keep them private.
Very mysterious. David Moyes there speaking to Jonathan Over. And right, let's get some more reaction to the big story from Wembley Stadium. A sold-out Wembley Stadium, which has just watched Chelsea lift their 3rd consecutive FA Cup after a 1-0 win over Manchester United.
Wembley is blue once more in the Women's FA Cup final. For the 3rd season running, Chelsea lift this trophy. It's the 5th time they've won it under their remarkable manager, Emma Hayes.
Emma, congratulations. That was a really classy but tight final. How was it for you?
First half, I think we was there to be won for Man United. We looked sluggish, we turned the ball over, slow to do almost anything we'd set out to do. So half-time came a moment for us to reset, and then the finishers came from the bench, and I thought the second half, that's where we won the game, with a moment of brilliance from Pernille Harder and Sam Kerr.
We talked about the impact that Harder could have from the bench, which he had almost instantly, but it'd be Kerr who gets the headlines once again. Are you almost running out of words to use for Sam Kerr?
She needed service, and Harder deserves the credit for that. She came straight on, got a shot within a couple of seconds of being on the pitch, and created the best moment in the match for us. And I thought Man United were unbelievable today, but I want to say that this is for the fans of Chelsea Football Club today. We've had a tough year, and this is for all the Chelsea fans.
Bear in mind you've got some very important league fixtures coming up. Does your heart go in your mouth a little bit when Kerr brings out the back flip?
Do you know what? I've come to expect it from her. I know if you give a service in the right situation, it was a wonderful pass. An outside foot finish that my assistant Denise Reddy don't like her doing, but she used it in the right moment.
The Chelsea women's manager Emma Hayes in the race for the Premier League, still all to play for between Coventry and Middlesbrough after goalless draw in the first leg of their Championship semi-final playoff. The winners will play Sunderland or Luton. In the National League North playoff final, Kidderminster Harriers beat Brackley Town by 2-0 in the National League South playoffs. Oxford City reached the 5th tier of English football for the first time in their history, beating St Albans 4-0. Later, Bradford City are in action against Carlisle in the League 2 playoffs. The first leg kicks off at 7 o'clock. Maurizio Pochettino has agreed to take over as Chelsea manager. He'll join the club in the summer, so Frank Lampard will remain as interim boss for the last couple of games of the season. And Leeds United have confirmed their striker Patrick Bamford has received online abuse and several threats on social media. Leeds drew 2-2 against Newcastle yesterday, and Patrick Bamford missed a penalty. Other stories for you. Sale beat Leicester Tigers 21 points to 13 to secure a place in Rugby Union's Premiership final against Saracens. That final at Twickenham is in 2 weeks' time. In county cricket, Surrey have moved top of Division 1 with a 9-wicket win over Middlesex, and in Division 2, Durham extended their lead at the top with a thrilling 1-wicket win over Yorkshire. Those are the sounds of the Emirates. We've got second half commentary on the way. Arsenal versus Brighton. Alistair Bruce Ball and Glenn Murray there. Glenn, just to pick out one Brighton individual that we didn't get a chance to do before we moved away for the news and for 606 trail. Levi Colwill had a great first half there, didn't he? Got a big job on his hands.
Yes, he did. He's nice and relaxed for such a young man in possession of the football. I think that's a requirement these days for centre-backs coming through. He also gives Brighton a nice balance because he's left-footed, Lewis Dunk's right, so he gives that nice balance in between the play. But he's obviously not Brighton, he's Chelsea, isn't he, Steve?
Well, yeah, but I was wondering whether or not, we don't know what's going to happen with Pochettino, but he's a Brighton player for now. I wonder if that is one that they might look at in the summer. Do you think they should?
Well, I'd be very, very surprised from the shrewd business that Tony Bloom constantly does. He brought him in just as a loanee. I imagine there'd be some sort of caveat to that deal where we'd have an option on him if we wanted. I think that isn't something that I'm partial to, though.
You just said we. I thought you were impartial.
Oh, well.
I'm only kidding. Glenn Murray's alongside Ali Bruce Ball and the teams are on their way out.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve, sorry, don't
Yes?
you say we when we mention Sunderland or not?
Sunderland?
Oh, sorry, I mean Borough.
Lovely.
Sunderland. Wow. Very good.
Hook, line and sinker
If that was deliberate,
Reeled him
that
in.
was outstanding.
Very good, very good. Yeah, Brighton are back, Steve. Welcome back to the Emirates Stadium. Shirt sleeve weather, it's lovely in North London. Lots of empty seats around the stadium at the moment, because it takes a bit of a while to get out and do what you need to do at half-time. But Brighton's players are out, Arsenal's players are on their way out. A little bit of an 80s vibe at half-time there with Madonna's Get Into the Groove, just playing before the players came out. It was my cousin celebrated his 50th birthday on Friday, so happy birthday, Giles, many happy returns. And he had an 80s themed party last night, and my brother went in an 80s Ipswich kit as Franz Tyson. Do you remember Franz Tyson?
Did you go as Hugh Grant?
He wasn't in the 80s. He wasn't in the 80s.
Not quite.
Franz Tyson, though, had a big bushy. He was one of Ipswich's brilliant Dutch players. They signed Tyson and Muir in the 80s, and he had a big bushy tash. And
that's before my time.
Yeah, I know, Glenn. I know. Anyway,
do you think that song was at the request of Mikel Arteta?
Get Into the Groove. I would say that is my favourite Madonna track.
Yeah, but do you think Arteta requested it?
What, as a sort of message to his players?
Yeah.
Could be. We're underway in the second half. Arsenal attacking away to our left. Jesus is going to hit an early shot on the half volley. Spanking strike blocked by Lewis Dunk. And behind it goes for a corner to Arsenal. So if he did, Glenn, it worked, because that's a sharp start from Arsenal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Jesus, just nice touch there. Falls very kindly for the striker. Fancy shot, has one from distance, but Lewis Dunk is there to block it.
Right, 30 seconds into the second half then. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0. Arsenal started the game 4 points behind Manchester City. Need a win in this one. Corner for them from the right. Saka's delivery, headed away at the near post by Estupinian, who's on the yellow card and marking Bukayo Saka still in this second half. Ramsdale is almost up to the halfway line here. Brighton have cleared the corner. Ramsdale then just launches a diagonal high right to left. Caicedo up early over the back of Jesus, wins the header, but Arsenal pick up the bits and pieces. Tierney down below us on the left. Arsenal in the red shirts with the white sleeves, the white shorts with the red stripes down the side, and the red socks, playing from right to left in this second half. And Gabriel plays a nice little ball through to Xhaka, who's encouraged to come forward and can't find Trossard. It breaks for Enciso, the Paraguayan, starting on the right in the second half for Brighton. Ball played into the path of Billy Gilmore, who tries to thread one through for Alexis McAllister. McAllister couldn't control it, so Kivior plays back to Ramsdale. Enciso comes racing towards him. Ramsdale immediately gets rid of it. Dunk chests the ball down just inside his own half, and Pascal Gross slides into a pass and knocks it back to Colwill, who Steve and Glenn were discussing just at the end of half. 20-year-old from Chelsea. Ball played forward. Brighton are in the blue and white vertical stripes, blue shorts and blue socks, and McAllister finds Enciso. Enciso looking to get Caicedo away down the right. Trossard is in to intercept. Does so, plays back to Gabriel. Gabriel clears first time with his left foot. Dunk forward to win the header, and out it goes for an Arsenal throw on the left inside their own half, and it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 0.
Yeah, I think as Lewis Dunk was approaching that ball, he would have liked to bring it down his chest, but Jesus put enough pressure on it so the Brighton man had to head it out quick.
So Glenn Murray with us and has a quiz question on the way for us in this second half. I've got one for Glenn as well. We'll do that when we get a break in play. The ball's back with Jason Steele. Arsenal then have Aaron Ramsdale in goal. White, Gabriel, Kivior, Tierney as the back four. Saliba and Zinchenko both out injured. Jorginho and Xhaka in central midfield, and Steele has very nearly given the ball away again. He's thumped it, and it's actually caught Gabriel Jesus, hit him and floored him, and he's down and needs a breather, so the game is going to stop for a second.
Yeah, it was a low, hard drive. I think he was looking for Caicedo at right back and zings the ball right into Gabriel Jesus' temple, and very similar to the start of the first half with Odegaard. We have Jesus down with a head injury, but he's back up. Not quite as extreme as the Odegaard one. Looks fine, doesn't he? The number 9 up on his feet.
Straight to the side of his head. Saka, Odegaard and Trossard is Arsenal's front three at the start of the second half. Gabriel Martinelli started the game, but had to go off with what looked like an ankle injury. And Gabriel Jesus is back on his feet and he's playing through the middle. Caicedo plays back to his goalkeeper Steele. Steele in goal. So Caicedo is right back really. It's Duncan Colwill with Estupinian as the left back. Gilmour and Pascal Gross as the midfield two. McAllister ahead of them, and then Mitoma and Enciso wide with Evan Ferguson through the middle. Enciso on the ball, and Arsenal desperately trying to get back at him. Enciso lines one up and he takes too long, just caught there just as he was about to release the shot. Kivior got there for Arsenal crucially. He scored an absolute screamer, didn't he, at Stamford Bridge recently, and was lining up another potential effort.
Yeah, he just thought he had too much time in his hands, and somebody covers, just nips the ball off the young Paraguayan.
Game opening up, start of the second half. Xhaka up towards Trossard. Clumsy challenge from Caicedo. Trossard's down, free kick Arsenal. Tierney takes that straight away and releases Saka on the left. Saka up against Caicedo, corner of the box, played back here to Trossard. Trossard to Xhaka, looks for the cutback, Dunk slides in and blocks it. It's offside, so that'll be a free kick for Brighton. Almost 5 minutes gone in the second half. Arsenal 0, Brighton 0, but that's a bit more encouraging, that to and fro for the game, Glenn.
Yeah, definitely. It was quite cagey first half. This second half, both teams have come out. I'm sure they've had a rollicking off their managers, and they're both aiming to try and break this deadlock we find ourselves at the Emirates.
Number to dial for 606 tonight. You heard Chris Sutton at half-time alongside Robbie Savage taking your calls. 08085 909 693. Don't wait until the start of the show. The lines are open now, so you can book your call now. Long ball downfield for Mitoma to chase. Gets there ahead of Ben White. He's one-on-one with White. Moves away from him, just outside the Arsenal area on the left. Supporting run on the outside from Estupinian. Cross comes in to the near post. Estupinian then scuffs a volley and headed in. Enciso at close range. Arsenal looking for an offside flag that doesn't come. And Brighton have themselves ahead at the Emirates Stadium. And if Arsenal lose this game, Manchester City could win the Premier League title in their very next game. Arsenal behind. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1.
Yes, and it's taken a long time coming, but Brighton eventually get down the left-hand side. It's Estupinian. He puts the ball in once, rebounds back to him, and he puts an awkward ball in. He bounces it into the Arsenal box, and it's Enciso's the first to react. A header from 3 yards out, I think. No area at all, and he sort of heads it into the back of the net very unconvincingly, but we can just see Kivior is down in the middle of the box, and the Arsenal players around the referee Andrew Madley, and they're asking questions. I don't know what they think's happened here, but that they're questioning the decision of a goal.
Just looking to see where Kivior is in the penalty area here as that cross comes in. He just goes down, doesn't he, and stops playing. So something's happened before when that first cross comes in that gets blocked. Estupinian's cross gets blocked.
Well, I actually think that it's either Evan Ferguson or Gabriel that stands on his toe, and if they're expecting a goal to be ruled out for that, I mean, it's incredible. We've just seen the header again, and the ball back in from Estupinian, because he bounces it in, hasn't got much pace and power on it, and Enciso has to generate some power onto it, and like I say, it's a pretty unconvincing header, but it's the right angle, and it bounces into the Arsenal net, and Brighton find themselves 1-0 up here, and their fans are enjoying the sunshine here in North London.
That's right, that's the one part of the stadium away to our right, just sort of curving around the bottom tier of that stand that has exploded with life, and that is the blue and white portion. We're getting another replay of the goal again. You could say incisive from Enciso. Right spot, right time, just flexes the neck muscles, flicks the header past Ramsdale. Kivior still down receiving treatment. The goal is going to stand, and it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 1.
Well, I think the argument was, from the Arsenal point of view, is that Kivior was the one that was picking Enciso up, and that eventually leaves Enciso free to head that ball into the net. But on the replays, there's absolutely no chance that that's a free kick or anything untoward, and the goal will rightfully stand. And Brighton are 1-0 up here at the Emirates, and a familiar position.
Yes, you're right, Glenn. You're absolutely right. So one here in the League Cup earlier this season, have won on 3 of their last 4 visits to the Emirates Stadium, a couple of Premier League wins under Graham Potter. And if Brighton win the game, we keep talking about what it means for Arsenal, Brighton win the game, they'll be on 58 points, 1 point ahead of Tottenham and Villa, and still with 2 games in hand on the pair of them. We've kicked off, the goal stands, Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. If Arsenal lose this game to Brighton, then Manchester City can clinch the title in their next game at home against Chelsea, because if Arsenal lose, they'll be on 81 points. It means they could only get to 87, and Manchester City with a win against Chelsea would move to 88. Kivior challenges Mitoma. Mitoma's complaining it's a foul, and eventually the referee agrees with him and gives Brighton a free kick wide on the left, down by that corner flag, deep in Arsenal territory. So 8 minutes gone in the second half. They do concede goals at home as well. That's one of the sort of things about Arsenal this season, isn't it, Glenn? As good as they've been, I think it's 3 clean sheets at home in the league this season.
Well, it's actually 3 of 13 Premier League clean sheets have come at home.
Right.
And only Southampton with 1 have kept fewer Premier League home clean sheets, which is quite incredible, isn't it?
It's bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Gabriel, considering the season they've had, across to Tierney. Tierney flicks one down the line, and Enciso blocks him. That will be a free kick. Tierney flicked it down the line. He was going to go and chase his own pass, and Enciso just got in his way. 9 minutes gone in the second half. 5 Live, BBC Sounds, World Service. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Manchester City fans will be absolutely loving this wherever you're listening to us at the moment. All the reaction, all the debate, all the analysis, as always, in the Football Daily podcast. If you don't subscribe to that already, then do so. It's on the BBC Sounds app. Loads of good podcast material there for you, including Jill Scott's Coffee Club, which is on the way back. First episode of the new series next week, but there's a sort of launch episode this week.
I thought you were going to plug your own there.
Yeah, I will do that in a second. Don't worry about that. I'm probably going to try and get you on it as well before the end of the season, Glenn. There's a yellow card. Yellow card
Pascal Gross.
For Pascal Gross, who was late on Jorginho. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1.
Just looking down here from our lofted position, I'm looking at Mikel Arteta deep in conversation. Seems quite calm at the moment, but he will expect a reaction from his players, and I think more than anything, just more tempo to their play.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Mikel Arteta scratching his head. Arsenal 1 down. Here's Kivior. Kivior across to Gabriel. He was closed down quickly by Ferguson, and then Enciso's in to win a header. Last touch comes off Tierney apparently, and that's a throw in for Brighton, and Enciso's just going to have a little shout at Tierney as well, so there's a battle developing down that flank in this second half.
Yeah, seems to be quite a lot of needle out there on the pitch today.
Big game, important game for both clubs. Brighton, of course, pushing for European football for the first time in their history. 7th place in the Premier League is going to do that for you this season. That'll be Europa Conference League. 5th and 6th would be Europa League. Brighton very much in the picture. They're away at Newcastle on Thursday, at home to Southampton, at home to Manchester City, and finish the season away to Aston Villa, who are also in that shake-up. Kivior, long ball out from the back. Trossard will chase that through the middle. Jesus is wide left at the moment. Trossard through the middle, and Saka on the right. Estupiñán plays back to Steele. Steele with a left-footed chip ball into the Brighton midfield. Caicedo chests it down. Gilmour, little lob pass forward. Estupiñán takes on the running. Nice pass out to the left. Brighton in the mood here, and Mitoma slaloming into the box, running at White, overruns it, and Kivior clears with his right foot. It'll be a throw into Brighton. Glenn.
And all of a sudden Arsenal have to come out and play. They're going to leave more space in between the lines, and that really does suit this young Brighton team. Naive at times, but they can be punishing. Just
talking more niggle, Gabriel Jesus was running forward there to try and close Colwill down, and Billy Gilmour blocked his path, and Jesus just bumped into him. So there's lots of little different individual battles going on all over the pitch here at the Emirates Stadium. Brighton lead 1-0. Dunk. Pacey pass up the middle. Ferguson tries to control. Jorginho felt he was fouled and stays down, sitting down, but Brighton aren't bothered. They'll keep coming. Mitoma's in acres of space on the left. Ferguson keeps going, sees Mitoma. Not much pace on the pass to Mitoma. He plays back to Estupiñán, and Arsenal have had a chance to realign and get back. Every single Brighton outfield player at least 10 yards inside the Arsenal half here. Estupiñán wide to Mitoma. Mitoma in dazzling sunshine in front of the Brighton fans on the left, urging him on to take on Ben White, but he goes back again to Estupiñán, in turn to Colwill. Colwill forward here, and then Gross tries one round the corner, intercepted by Xhaka. Xhaka continues the chase. Gross tries it again, outside of his right foot, finds Gilmour, comes back to Colwill. Arsenal chase, but Brighton keep the ball away from them.
And with Arsenal driving Brighton back there, even though Brighton look comfortable in possession, playing in that little box between the centre-backs and the two midfielders, you just hear a little bit of noise from the Emirates crowd, trying to G their team up.
1-0 Brighton. Colwill drives it forward. Here's Jorginho on the interception. Saka at full stretch, can't control his pass. Mitoma back there for Brighton, interception, and immediately Enciso starts a run in from the right-hand touchline. He's involved now. Caicedo forward to Enciso. Trossard's flick. The ball hits Caicedo in the face. He thought about going down, and then the Arsenal fans gave him a load of stick, and he thought better of it, but he's out of position at the moment. Here come Arsenal down the right. Saka is going to run at Estupiñán. He's into the Brighton area. Flies past him, cut back looking for Xhaka. Mitoma's back there, clears with his right foot. And it's only Aaron Ramsdale, man alone inside the Arsenal half. Thomas Partey is coming on. Reiss Nelson is coming on. Reiss Nelson, of course, the man who scored the dramatic 97th minute winner against Bournemouth when Arsenal needed him most earlier in this season. So double change coming for Arsenal. Jorginho's ball forward to Jesus. Dunk's got him covered and steals off his line and grabs it for Brighton. We have almost reached the hour mark. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Glenn Murray.
Yes, and I'm not surprised to see Mikel Arteta making a couple of substitutions, just trying to add something to the game, get his team to get a foothold in the game, really, because at the moment Brighton in the ascendancy.
Yeah.
It's a question if they can make it two, not if Arsenal can draw level.
Lines open for 606 08085 909 693. Brighton's change is coming first, though. Billy Gilmour's coming off, so Brighton are going to shake it up again here. I presume McAllister may drop a bit deeper now, and Danny Welbeck comes on. Jorginho's coming off for Thomas Partey, and Granit Xhaka is coming off for Reiss Nelson. So Partey for Jorginho, obviously like for like in central midfield. Trossard's now being sent infield, and Reiss Nelson looks like he's going to start wide on the left for Arsenal.
Yeah, and it looks like Trossard's going to be behind Odegaard almost, or they're going to have a one and a front four behind that.
Steele clears with his right foot first time. Ball drops inside the Arsenal half and they let it bounce. Ben White loops a header up in the air. Kivior's there to help. Odegaard with the next header, controlled by Nelson. Try to take it round Pascal Gross. Brighton player down, holding his face though. Just inside the Arsenal half. Estupiñán is down, and so that is going to be a free kick to Brighton. We're into the last half hour of the game. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. If Arsenal lose the game, then Manchester City can win a 5th Premier League title in 6 seasons with a home win over Chelsea in their next Premier League game, which will be a 5 live commentary next Sunday at 4 o'clock. So we've got Arsenal, full commentary on them, 5:30 next Saturday away to Nottingham Forest, who still need points at the other end of the table. And then 4 o'clock we'll bring you Manchester City against Chelsea. Here's Ferguson on the right for Brighton. As Glenn Murray says, they're the ones who look more likely to get the next goal. Nelson shoves Caicedo off the ball. Arsenal fans think Caicedo's gone down way too easily, but it was such a sort of exaggerated shove from Nelson. I don't think he was going to get away with that. It's a free kick for Brighton. Brighton now will take their time over the restarts, and they're playing well, Glenn.
Yeah, they are. They're frustrating Arsenal at the moment. Not letting Arsenal get into a rhythm. They're keeping the ball. They're buying free kicks, and right now we see Pascal Gross on the right-hand side in a very dangerous area. He's going to put the ball into the Arsenal box and ask questions of this back four.
Free kick from wide on the right. Pascal Gross has been given an instruction from the sidelines and is calling Estupiñán towards him as if to say, we need your left foot on this, and then they decide against that. It would have taken up a little bit more time, whether it's just a ploy, something else for Arsenal to think about. Pascal Gross, normally great delivery from set pieces, curls that one in with his right foot, and Ramsdale's there, the flag's up. Assistant referee called an offside, so that'll be a free kick for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta wants more from his team, clapping his hands together, whirling his hands around as well, and saying, come on, let's get it going. Been in this situation before this season. Arsenal have dug themselves out of it. Desperately need to do so now, but they're up against a very good team in Brighton. Here's Thomas Partey, so he's on for Jorginho, gets the ball from Kivior, plays it back into the Arsenal box. Partey again, forward to Odegaard. Enciso was closing in on Ødegaard and slipped and then backed off, and Trossard finds Saka inside the Arsenal half on the right. Ben White on the move on the outside. Saka takes it past Matoma. Good ball to Jesus. Got Reece Nelson in space on the left. Reece Nelson attacking that Brighton box onto the right foot. Drives it. Oh, just wide. Steele was beaten. That was fizzing low and hard, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yes, it was. And as Nelson picks that ball up on the left hand side, he cuts back on his right foot. Caicedo gets lost a little bit. I think he loses his bearings. And as he hits that ball for the far corner, it's just so true. It almost swerves away rather than towards the goal. If he could have only got a little bit of curve on that shot, it would have nestled in that bottom corner, and Arsenal would have been back in the game.
Brighton going to play out from the back. They still lead Arsenal 1-0. 18 minutes gone in the second half. Caicedo challenged by Nelson. That's going to be another free kick. Mikel Arteta doesn't agree. Hopping mad, quite literally hopping mad on the touchline, Arteta.
And then just down the touchline, you can see Roberto De Zerbi throwing his arms up in the air. Two very, very animated managers that want to win this game.
Here we go. This is just going to spice things up a little bit more. I've had enough of that, says Andrew Madley to the Arsenal manager. Mikel Arteta receives a yellow card. Might get his players going, who knows. So Arteta booked, free kick for Brighton, and Arsenal's title hopes hanging by a thread at the moment. They have been for a while, just because of the relentlessness of Manchester City. Oh, Steele takes a chance outside his box, but does really well. Dummies Jesus, and now Brighton play up to the halfway line. Gabriel intercepts. It has got the Arsenal fans going. Trossard barged off the ball. Advantage played. Partey looking for Nelson. Cleared by Brighton. There's Kivior. Forward to Ødegaard. Ødegaard looking for Saka on the right. Saka up against Estupinian again. Estupinian blocks his path, and then Matoma's back there to help out for Brighton. Flicks a little ball infield. That's McAllister back there.
I think Brighton's recovering challenges have been superb today from their players. Just stopping that Arsenal counter-attack, coming from behind, robbing the ball on a number of occasions.
Ball back with Steele. Steele measured side-footed pass with his right foot to McAllister. So McAllister deeper now for Brighton, controlling things alongside Pascal Gross. Here he is again in a tight pocket of space. Brighton have lost it. Trossard inside the penalty area, half tackled, and then the ball nodded back by Gross to Jason Steele, and Trossard had options right and left and tried to go it alone.
Yeah, again it was a recovering challenge from behind him, just nips in, gets that ball off him. Pascal Gross with a very calm header back about 6 yards out to his goalkeeper Jason Steele.
25 minutes to play. Arsenal really need to win this game to properly keep the pressure on Manchester City, so they need 2 goals in 25 minutes. Brighton chasing European football. This will do very nicely for them, thank you very much. And Dunk is charging forward from inside his own half. Ferguson plays back to Caicedo. All the way back to goalkeeper Jason Steele. Jesus comes towards him. Steele clears up towards the halfway line. Gabriel wins the header, bounces. Lewis Dunk is up, nods it back into his own box. Colwill lets it bounce. Steele behind him and is able to grab it.
Yeah, very good communication by the Brighton goalkeeper there, because Colwill was a little bit lost in the box there, but Steele said, I'm coming up behind, I'm here, I'll collect it. Takes the pressure off.
Steele drops the ball at his feet inside the penalty area. Will the Arsenal players come towards him? Steele's waiting. Rolls a pass to his left. Colwill side foots one into Welbeck inside his own half. Brighton keep it. McAllister with the outside of his right foot spins one to Dunk. Dunk forward here to Welbeck. Welbeck running forward from midfield, looking for a supporting run from Caicedo on the outside. He goes straighter to Enciso, receives the 1-2. Arsenal player down. Welbeck's free outside the box, drives the shot low, was always wide, and behind it goes for a goal kick. And Partey is the man down, but he's going to be okay because Arsenal have got the ball back, and I think he was always going to be okay, wasn't he? He was looking to win a free kick.
I mean, he's not the type of player you expect to go down and ask for a free kick there, especially in that position when his man's got away from him. I mean, he's your midfield enforcer. You expect for him to track back and tackle him, not go down and ask for a free kick.
Getting tense for Arsenal and their fans inside the Emirates. Then you can certainly feel that all around us. Arsenal fans, 606, lines open, 08085 909 693. Don't know yet what result you'll be reacting to. Brighton fans as well. But you can use that number to call 606 this evening. Welbeck receives the ball with his back to goal. Kivior chase him. Oh, clever from Mitoma. Let it run across his body. He's away from Ben White. Ben White desperately giving chase. He's not going to get near him. Mitoma still going. Great tackle by Saka. But the ball runs here for Brighton in the box. Curling effort is over the bar and wide, and the offside flag then goes up, as it does quite often, and Aaron Ramsdale comes across and voices his dissatisfaction at the assistant referee, because Arsenal felt and kind of knew that was always going to be offside, but they will let it play if they're not sure, just in case the ball ends up in the back of the net. We're midway through the second half.
Yeah, they did, but I mean, Brighton, Mitoma coming in from that left-hand side onto his right foot. I just wonder if they're going to rue these missed opportunities and the advantage they've got in this game, as I expect Arsenal to start playing a little bit, in all honesty. I mean, the Emirates is quite flat, their play is quite flat, they've made substitutions and it's not made any difference so far.
Partey's lost it. McAllister driving forward for Brighton. It's opening up for the visitors again. Here's Ferguson, little trick, takes him past Gabriel Enciso, looks for Ferguson again and very nearly got him in. Ramsdale's got to be careful now on his left foot inside his own box, happy to clear that anywhere down the left, and it's intercepted by Caicedo. 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the BBC World Service. Real drama at the Emirates Stadium. 1-0 to Brighton at the moment, and Brighton playing some lovely stuff. Mitoma on the ball on the left, good run forward from Gross, but Welbeck gets involved, plays it to Caicedo, wide to Enciso, corner of the Arsenal penalty area on the right for Brighton as they attack. Caicedo 1-2 with Gross. Caicedo just got to the return pass, back to Dunk across the halfway line to Colwill. Arsenal having to chase at the moment. Colwill a straight pass to Mitoma back to McAllister. There's the run on the outside from Estupiñán, takes the ball in his stride, Saka's with him, makes the interception, and Brighton get the corner.
Yeah, really good play by Brighton, eventually releasing Estupiñán from left back, but brilliant from Bukayo Saka, tracking back, and it had to be the perfect time challenge, because if not, Estupiñán was in front of him and he was in the penalty area.
Arsenal have only suffered 4 defeats so far in this remarkable season for them. Away to Manchester United, away to Everton, and both games against Manchester City. So Manchester City the only team to win here in the Premier League so far this season, but Brighton on the way to matching that. But there are still 20 minutes to play, and it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Corner for Brighton. Enciso, the goal scorer that has them in front. He's unmarked at the far post. Arsenal not too worried about him at the moment, and it comes from the right boot of Pascal Gross. Gabriel heads it away. Estupiñán is there first. Diagonal ball with his left foot over to Caicedo. Caicedo controls, rash challenge from Nelson, and he missed it. Caicedo back to McAllister. Looks up, thought about the cross to the far post, slides it to his right to Enciso. Little trick from Enciso, on the outside he goes. And the cross goes straight up in the air, and that's easy for Ramsdale to grab. He bowls it out here to Ødegaard. Ødegaard turns in one flowing movement, closed down by Welbeck, fouled by Welbeck. Free kick for Arsenal. But that's what Brighton will do and should do, isn't it? Is as soon as Arsenal look like they're going to build something, just break it up.
Yeah, exactly that. Just stop the flow of play, stop Arsenal gaining any advantage, quick advantage, should we say, but... Wow.
Arsenal have made ground into the Brighton half. Ben White playing a 1-2 with Saka, gives it back to Saka, wide on the right. Here's White again. White to Partey, central position 30 yards out. Welbeck in front of him. Little pass to Ødegaard. Ødegaard slides one through. Trossard shot straight at Steele, and the goalkeeper makes the save. Clever by Arsenal, nearly found the way through.
Yeah, lovely underlapping run from Leandro Trossard into the Brighton area. Ødegaard spots it, the playmaker for this Arsenal team. A brilliant pass, perfect weight. Trossard steps onto it. Good connection, low, hard, but right at Jason Steele.
Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Steele with the ball at his feet. Goodness me, left that late as Jesus stretches to make a challenge, but he finds Colwill. Down the left he plays towards Mitoma. Mitoma gets the touch. Kivior heads it up in the air. Saka nods it back to White. You really feel every little thing that goes wrong for Arsenal at the moment. There's a real tension and frustration and annoyance in the stands around us. Partey gets past McAllister in midfield, plays over the halfway line to Nelson, back to Partey, takes his time to Tierney, all inside the Arsenal half into the last 20 minutes. Lines open for 606 08 085 909 693, the number to dial to have your say on the day's football. Here's Saka. Saka's going to lose that. Welbeck to McAllister, quite happy to make Arsenal chase. Estupiñán spots space, plays the 1-2 with Welbeck, and there was a foul in there. As Brighton worked it around, there was an Arsenal player blocked off the ball. Andrew Madley saw it, and he's given a free kick to Arsenal.
No, I'm not entirely in agreement there with the referee. I think it was a little bit soft. There was a man between.
Oh, they wanted to go quick, Arsenal. The referee stopped them. More frustration. Now they go.
They just can't seem to build up a head of steam, can they, Arsenal? I mean, the fans are trying every time the ball's drop dead, but just seems to fall on deaf ears almost.
Yeah, even a draw for Arsenal in this one is great news for Manchester City, because their goal difference is so much better. A home win for Manchester City over Chelsea. Hang on a second, here's Jesus. Jesus up to the edge of the area, brilliant skills. Oh, still going Jesus, and tried to toe poke one to Nelson on his left, twisting and turning, some magic dribbling. Jesus was down, and then there's a free kick given against Arsenal.
It was against Jesus.
Against Jesus, and the stadium erupts, and now Caicedo is down, holding his foot.
Yeah, because as Jesus was losing control of that ball, it's Caicedo who gets there and just stabs the ball away, and as everyone's eyes followed the ball, Jesus just has a little kick out at Caicedo.
Right.
The referee saw it and rightfully awarded a free kick.
Yeah, saw it there on the replay. Yeah. Totally unnecessary, because Arsenal were going to get the ball there, and they could have gone again. The skill before it was wonderful from Jesus.
And that's what he can do, and I think that's what Arsenal fans want to see more of. And I think the kick out was a little bit of frustration, to be honest. He's been manhandled at times from Lewis Dunk, and that time he gets away, wriggles away, but finds another opponent to block his move.
Kivior plays back to Gabriel. Time ticking down for Arsenal and their title challenge here. It's looking ever more likely to be Manchester City as the seconds tick by. They've still got work to do, Manchester City, of course, still got games to play, but Arsenal really need to win here. And Partey looking for the longer ball towards Saka, so easy for Estupiñán to defend and nod it back to his goalkeeper, Jason Steele.
And we expect Jason Steele to stand on the ball until somebody approaches him. Jesus approaches him very slowly. Time and time again he's had the ball at his feet, and he just stands and waits and waits and waits, and that takes a lot of calmness and composure.
Facundo Buonanotte waiting to come on for Brighton. Lovely delivery from Steele from the goal kick. Oh, Matoma's kept that in. He was tackled by White, and White thought the ball was going out for an Arsenal throw. Matoma kept it in, then caught by White, and Brighton play back into their own half. Just over 15 minutes to go. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Enciso's close range header in this second half has Brighton in front, and is pushing them closer to European football next season.
I mean, in this situation, you would expect to see Roberto De Zerbi to bring experience on, or other managers to bring experience on. No, he doesn't. He's going to bring an 18-year-old Argentinian on.
It's a great point. Gabriel plays back to Ramsdale here. Ramsdale takes a touch outside his penalty area. Passes across to Kivior. Kivior stops the ball under his left boot. Forward pass to Ødegaard inside the Arsenal half. Brighton have got it covered at the moment. Comes back to Ramsdale. Ramsdale with Ødegaard coming towards him. Ødegaard's deep. Ramsdale's going to go long and look for Jesus. That'll be Jesus against Dunk if Jesus can keep it in. Fabulous control. Brings it down beautifully. Finds Saka. Saka to his left. No, not enough on the pass to find Nelson. Caicedo was there to intercept. Saka now trying to close down as Steele, the Brighton keeper, clears. We're into the last 15 minutes. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Here come Brighton again. Looking dangerous as they come forward. Enciso finds Welbeck. Tierney knocks Enciso over off the ball. Welbeck continues, flicks the pass infield. McAllister drives it low and just wide. Goal kick for Arsenal.
Lovely flick from Danny Welbeck. He's coming infield there, flicks it past the on-rushing Arsenal player, and it bounces into McAllister's path. Catches it on the half volley, but it's always just swinging away from Ramsdale's right-hand post. As we see the Brighton substitution being made, an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
18-year-old.
Buonanotte is coming on. He'll replace We'll replace Evan Ferguson. And Arsenal, this is a measure of the desperation of the situation. Smith Rowe and Nketiah both coming on. Jesus comes sprinting off. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. While they make the changes, here's your quiz question, Glenn Murray. It comes from Friday's Fact of the Day, regular feature on Drive with Tony Livesey and Claire McDonnell. So John Murray and Dennis O'Reilly week on week get asked questions about the games we're covering, loosely connected. This one had a Eurovision theme. ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest in Brighton in 1974. Who was the manager of Brighton at the time? Was it Bertie Mee, was it Brian Clough, or was it Jimmy Bloomfield? That was the question I got asked.
Was it at the same stage of the season? That's what I want to ask.
I'm not sure.
Because I'm sure Brian Clough was only there for a very short time at the start of the season, so I'm going to rule him out. Process of elimination. Who were the other two? Because I've never heard
Bertie
of them.
Mee. Bertie Mee used to be manager here, won the double with Arsenal in 70-71, and Jimmy Bloomfield was the other one.
I'm going to go for Jimmy Bloomfield.
It's exactly what I did for exactly the same reason. I got it wrong. Brighton player is down. Arsenal fans feel that is gamesmanship and time wasting. Brighton have a throw. The referee's coming over to deal with it. So that's what I said. The answer is Brian Clough. He had a very short spell in charge of Brighton, and it was during that time that ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest.
I thought that was the start of the season.
Well, maybe it was at a different time. It's a good question. I wasn't allowed to ask that question.
It looks here, and Ciso that's down, he's writhing around in quite a bit of an agony, and it looks like he might have just got a knee to sort of your IT band, the centre of your sort of your thigh almost, and a dead leg. That's the simple way of putting it, Alex.
That's the non-medical explanation. So, stoppage in play. Frustration building for the Arsenal fans around us. Brighton leading by a 1-0, and while we wait here for Enciso to recover, you've got one for me now, Glenn.
I have. It's kind of dead in the water now, to be honest, now that Ferguson's gone off. But if Ferguson had scored, he would have become the third team to score in both league fixtures against Arsenal in a single season. Who were the other two?
Well, I can give you one.
Go on then.
Rooney.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. I would have thought Rooney, definitely.
What year, just out of interest?
Oh, I mean, that's right at the start of Rooney's career, isn't it? So
he would have been playing for who?
It was Everton, wasn't it? Wasn't it that brilliant? That brilliant.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know what year was that.
02 or 03.
02 or 03. The other one
is before that.
Oh, okay. Teenager to score in both games against Arsenal. If you gave me the club, would it totally give it away? I'm not going to get it, I don't think.
The West London club, let's put it that way.
West London club, okay. Chelsea teenager, possibly. I'll work on that one as this game continues. 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service. Buonanotte is on for Brighton, and Nketiah and Smith Rowe on for Arsenal. And Arsenal desperately chasing here. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Pascal Gross has knocked the ball out of play. 2 Brighton players now sitting down. So I don't think Enciso is going to be able to continue. But we've got another Brighton player down inside his own half, wide on the left, and that's Alexis McAllister, who seems to be in some pain. Yeah, he's thumping the floor with his right hand.
He was just first to the ball. He clears, doesn't clear the ball. He passes the ball, and he feels as though he's caught quite late by Eddie Nketiah, who comes rushing into the picture quite aggressively. I don't think there's too much in it, to be perfectly honest, from the angle we've just seen there, Ali. But he's down and he's in some discomfort.
Okay, so that gives me a little bit more time. Reminder as well, lines open for 606. Number to dial is 08085 909 693. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls straight after this. And reminder as well of our commentaries from the Champions League and the Europa Conference League coming your way next week. Inter Milan against AC Milan on Tuesday night. Ian Dennis heading back to the San Siro. Manchester City against Real Madrid will start at 1-1 on Wednesday night. We've got that game in full. And then AZ Alkmaar against West Ham, as West Ham try and make a first major European final for almost half a century. They take a 2-1 lead over to the Netherlands. Enciso is still down, so they're going to make the change. Dennis Undav will come on for him. I was just having a look, actually, Glenn. Yeah, they've only made 2 changes so far, because in the last game, of course, De Zerbi made 4 changes, didn't he, at half-time, which then leaves you a little bit susceptible if things happen in the game. Enciso is on his feet and hobbling so slowly, coming all the way across the pitch.
I think that's why the Arsenal fans are so disappointed.
Angry.
Yeah, angry, because he's walked from the opposite side of the field to come out over to the dugout side, when I think the rule is, or it was, that you're meant to leave at the nearest exit almost.
He's not that badly hurt either, is he, Enciso?
Well, I mean, you say that, Ali, but I mean, as you approach this last 10 minutes, I'd rather be on the field trying to score the winner rather than coming off.
It's fair enough. Off he comes. Great player, Enciso, and he's been the difference today, because he's scored the goal so far. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. Arsenal defeat means Manchester City can clinch the Premier League title if they beat Chelsea in their next game on Sunday, which will be a commentary here on 5 Live at 4 o'clock. So, needs something special from Arsenal now in the last 10 minutes of this game, but we're going to have easily 6 or 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the game. Gabriel has put the ball out of play for a Brighton throw. Brighton wanted the ball back. You see, this has got a bit niggly and nasty now. Brighton thought they should have had the ball back at their feet, and they've given them a throw in their right back position.
Yeah, and now they're pressing that right back position. So that's a little bit untoward from Arsenal, I think. There's not very much sportsmanship, and if they score here, there'll be very big questions to be asked.
Tierney takes the throw, so Pascal Gross couldn't control the ball that was thrown to him. Arsenal have won it back immediately. McAllister's back on the field. It's 11 versus 11 again. Brighton leading by a 1-0. Saka trying to get onto that ball from Ben White down the right. Here's McAllister in a little tight spot. Plays it to Estupiñán. Still got so much energy. Look at him go down the left and then leap in the air to try and control the pass. Can't do so. Arsenal throw on the right. 7.5 minutes to go, plus added time. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1.
He's like an Ecuadorian.
Go on.
Duracell bunny, isn't he?
I thought you were going to come up with some Ecuadorian famous middle distance runner that I'd never heard of. This is Nketiah, one of the Arsenal substitutes, on the left, plays the ball in field to Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson with his speed gets away from McAllister, into the box, still going, bodies in front of him, Dunk blocks, Arsenal corner.
Good defending by Dunk there. Reece Nelson is running at some pace, asking questions. Dunk just holds.
Nelson doesn't want to take the corner, he wants to leave it to Trossard. Smith Rowe, who's got that old school footballer's look with the socks rolled down, is lurking on the edge of the D in case a clearance comes out to him. Saka's deep as well. The centre-backs taken up position at the back post. Ben White in the middle. Arsenal 0, Brighton 1. And Trossard now with the corner, with his right foot. High, floated one, not much pace on it. Might fall here to Nketiah with his back to goal inside the Brighton box. Plays it back to Saka. Saka rolls it back to Smith Rowe. One touch, then a curling ball into the edge of the box. Falls to Partey. Partey to Gabriel. Thought he was dragged down as he hit the shot. Arsenal players appealing for a penalty. Referee's not interested. Trossard on the turn. No, he's not going to beat Caicedo with that. Brilliant defending from Caicedo. Gets his body in the way. And that will be a goal kick for Brighton.
Yeah, just uses his strength this time. He lets the ball roll out to safety. Unlike the first half where he nearly got robbed by Saka.
That's right, down on the byline. Time running out for Arsenal here. Goal kick Brighton, they'll take it short. Colwill to Steele, and Nketiah speeds in. Steele to Colwill. Colwill clears with his left foot. Matoma lets it bounce, it hits him on the chest. McAllister side foots one forward. That's Estupiñán, isn't it? In the centre circle, bursting forward again. Lovely pass from him, and he's going down the right if Buonanotte can play him in. No, Buonanotte moves infield and plays back here to Gross. So Estupiñán, the left back, is now right wing and looking to get in behind Arsenal. 1-0 up with about 6 minutes to play, plus added time. Arsenal fans still supporting their team. Trying to get behind them. Long ball over the top. Undav's got to be offside. Oh no, because the header fell into his path. Oh well, offside flag does go up. Ramsdale makes the save from the shot. Ramsdale keeps playing. Slings the ball out to Thomas Partey. Partey chased by Undav. Pushed over inside his own half. Free kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, just stopping play again. Just a niggly little foul to stop Arsenal progress up the field. But talking about Estupiñán, if I was to liken him to a dog, it would have to be a spaniel, wouldn't it?
An Ecuadorian spaniel. Gabriel plays back to his goalkeeper Ramsdale. 5 minutes plus added time remaining. Desperate times for Arsenal. Trossard's ball intercepted, falls to Undav, lobs Ramsdale towards the goal and in. That could be that. Arsenal have given the ball away. Dennis Undav pounces. The Brighton players race towards him to celebrate. They are heading towards European football for the first time in their history, and the title is disappearing from Arsenal's view. 2-0 down. If they lose this game and Manchester City win the next one, then the title will be City's.
And you know what? I look around the stadium now, Ali, and all of a sudden people are heading for the exit, and I cannot believe that. 5 minutes left in this game. Yes, they're 2-0 down, but they've been on this journey together, and to see them heading out of the door is so very, very disappointing. Brilliant finish from Undav though. When that ball does find him, bounces. Ramsdale's caught in no man's land, doesn't know whether to come or go. It's a block by Pascal Gross, comes off his knee. Very fortunate how the chance arises, but when it does, Dennis Undav keeps his cool, lifts it over. Ramsdale, who, like I say, is caught in no man's land, and it bounces on the line and into the back of the net as a couple of Arsenal players chase it, and Roberto De Zerbi runs down the touchline, given a lot of excitement.
What a win this is going to be for Brighton. They've still got to see it out though. We are in the 87th minute of the game. Lots of stoppage time coming. Brighton lead 2-0. Fabulous lob finish from Dennis Undav. Thomas Partey booked here for a cynical trip on Kaoru Mitoma. So Arsenal will be on 81 points. Manchester City will be on 85 points with 2 wins in their last 2 games. Arsenal can only get themselves to 87, so 1 more win for Manchester City, 3 more points, from their remaining 4 games of the season will see them win the title, and actually 2 more points will probably do it because the goal difference is so superior. They have run out of steam, Arsenal, and I have to say, Glenn, to give you your credit, I don't think you wanted to say it on air, but you did just nudge me kind of before the game to say you quite fancied Brighton today here at Arsenal. Welbeck's on the run forward, but actually Arsenal are going to get a free kick for a foul there. But you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I just felt the magnitude of the game for Arsenal. The way that the result before this, the Manchester City game, had gone. And Brighton, it suits Brighton playing at a top 6 club where they've got to come out and play. And I've got to emphasise the point because I can't believe how empty the Emirates now looks.
Yeah. 3 points from 3 games, beg your pardon, for Manchester City. I said 4, Chelsea at home, Brighton away, Brentford away. So Brighton away obviously is not going to be an easy one for them. Brighton moving to 58 points, 1 point above Tottenham and Villa. They'll be moving up to 6, still 2 games in hand on those 2 as well. 6:06 on the way after this game. Number to dial 08085 909 693. And here we are watching Arsenal 0, Brighton 2. It's gone very, very quiet inside the Emirates Stadium, apart from the blue and white corner away to our right. And as Glenn was just saying, loads of empty seats and forlorn Arsenal fans, backs of Arsenal fans in their replica shirts just trudging out of the exits. I think they know the game is up, but listen to the support they've still got from those inside the stadium. Tierney's ball forward, and Nketiah will chase. Steele is there, out of his area, clears with his right foot, and the ball goes high in the air, and it's spinning down, and Tierney nods it down, and Nelson does well to keep it in play, but Brighton might win it here. Nelson in with another challenge. McAllister is there, back to Gross in turn back to Dunk. Glenn Murray.
Just looking at the game now and sort of assessing it from this point on, I just think that throughout the afternoon, one man has stood out for me. I think he's been absolutely outstanding, and it's that man, that number 10 in Brighton's midfield, the World Cup winner, Alexis McAllister. In possession, I think he's been exemplary. He's led by example, I suppose, and I mean, he's the way he tracks back, the way he manages the game and keeps the ball is second to none, and no wonder he's got so many suitors.
Kivior's ball over the top to Caicedo. Matoma making the run beyond. The pass forward is blocked by Tierney. 4th official is coming forward here. Darren England with the ball to tell us how much added time there's going to be at the end of this game. Bit of cramp at the back there for Kieran Tierney. In for the injured Alexander Zinchenko today. Well, Brighton were thumped 5-1 by Everton last Monday, so what a response, what a performance. This is 8 minutes of added time. I mean, you can score a couple of goals in 8 minutes, certainly.
Yeah, you can, and that's why I'm so surprised they've all left with 5 minutes to go. I mean, they did it against Southampton. They can do it here today. It's maybe more of an uphill task, but it's a possibility. You've been on this long journey together all season, and to walk out at this stage is beyond, it's incredible to me. It doesn't make sense.
Smith Rowe chasing for Arsenal into the Brighton half. Dunk is there. Dunk across to Gross. Gross plays a little 1-2 with McAllister. We're into added time now at the end of the game, but still 8 minutes to play. And Manchester City fans, after their 3-0 win today, second leg of the Champions League semi-final to come on Wednesday, FA Cup final to come as well, closing in on the Premier League title. And Brighton have done them a big favour here. Welbeck on the turn inside the Arsenal half. Forward to Undav. Undav gets away from Kivior. Undav's ball into the edge of the box. Mitoma just trying to slide one into the bottom corner. Ben White blocks it. Here's Partey. How many players Brighton had going forward in that attack still?
I think that's one thing about them. They don't go in front and try and protect a lead. They manage it as best they can, but they keep attacking. They look for the second, the third. I mean, it is a beautiful brand of football to watch, as we've seen this afternoon.
They're going to be great to watch in Europe next season as well, and the fans are going to absolutely love it if they do indeed go on and clinch qualification. Pass too far ahead of Nketiah. Dunk is there to intercept for Brighton. Plays to Caicedo on the right, and Nelson comes flying in with a tackle. Caicedo's down in a heap. It's either a free kick or a throw-in for Brighton just underneath us here on the right-hand side. 6:06 on the way. Number to dial if you've not called before, 08085 909 693. You might be a fan of the Chelsea women's team who've won the FA Cup final yet again. Beat Manchester United by 1-0. Brentford beat West Ham by 2-0. Coventry and Middlesbrough was 0-0. Championship playoff semi-final first leg. Yesterday it was Sunderland 2, Luton 1. Bradford Carlisle in the League 2 playoffs tonight. That one kicks off at 7 o'clock. Offside flag goes up against Brighton, wide on the left. Free kick for Arsenal just inside their own half. What a season Arsenal have had. They will have Champions League football next season, of course, but it's petering out a little bit here, and you can sense the dejection and disappointment from those still remaining in the stadium here. Ben White plays back to Kivior. Kivior forward to Partey. Partey on to Trossard. Partey. Meaty pass out to Nelson. Chests it down. Comes running at Caicedo. Works it onto his right foot. Thinks about lining up the shot. That shot's blocked on the edge of the area by Buonanotte. Partey in the inside left channel for Arsenal. Doesn't see the passes on. Looking for Tierney. Tierney's under pressure here. Tierney flicks it back to Gabriel. 3 minutes of 8 of the added time have already been played, so Arsenal need a couple of goals in 5 minutes here. Need 3 goals really. And Nketiah across to Ben White. White on the right. Smith Rowe behind him. Smith Rowe to Kivior, all inside the Brighton half. Across to Tierney. Arsenal 0, Brighton 2. Enciso and Undav with the goals. Nelson skins Caicedo down to the byline on the left. Pascal Gross comes up to face him, plays it back to Tierney. Tierney gets that cross in. Good delivery, but headed away. Kivior, those look like tired legs, chasing that ball away to the right. Left-footed pass looking for Saka, easily cut out by Mitoma. Mitoma inside his own half, so calm in possession. Plays it to the left, and Mitoma's off. And if Estupiñán had been able to find him down the left, he could have been away and beyond the Arsenal backline. McAllister might have overrun one inside his own half. He was outnumbered. 4 minutes to go. And if Arsenal lose the game, which looks very, very likely, 3 points from 3 games for Manchester City to win the title. Tierney wide to Nelson. Nelson's going to fancy a run at Caicedo again. 5 yards in from the left-hand touchline. Rolls the pass to Trossard. Trossard, oh, nice turn from Nketiah. Inside the box, Nketiah holds off Caicedo. I think he's looking for the penalty there. Steele then flops on the ball down by the goal line and grabs it in both hands.
Yeah, and he just turns Lewis Dunk, and for a moment Lewis Dunk turns over his shoulder in panic. But Caicedo's there to clear up the danger. Just a hooking challenge as Nketiah thinks he's away, just about to pull the trigger. Gets in.
Yeah, good tackle.
Yeah, very good, well-timed tackle. But I mean, I'm looking at this Arsenal lineup now, and there's no Jesus, there's no Martinelli, there's no Odegaard. I mean, it's quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, changes have all been made. Arsenal still fighting, looking to try and win the ball. What a turn by Undav. Score of the second goal. Welbeck getting away from Kivior. Welbeck now lays it into the path here of Undav again. Undav fancies a dip. Ramsdale palms it away. Rebound. Estupiñán tucks it away with his left foot. Would you believe it? Brighton have a third in added time, and Arsenal players fall to their knees. They look at the ground and they know this title race is pretty much done. Fabulous performance from Brighton at the Emirates Stadium this afternoon. Arsenal have kept pace with Manchester City all season, but at the end they have just run out of gas. It's Arsenal 0, Brighton 3.
Well, you could call it a demolition. 3-0 away after what was a humbling at home at the Amex to Everton on Monday. 5 goals they conceded, but today they've come up against a team that suits them, that wants to play football, and Brighton have played between the lines. They've played some beautiful stuff, and they've just rounded it off with another goal late on in the tie to make it 3-0. Estupiñán, it's Undav that gets on the edge of the area, unleashes a shot. It's a good save by Ramsdale, but it's palmed into Estupiñán's path. It's bouncing. He hooks the ball back on target, bounces it into the ground over the top of Ramsdale and into the net, wheels off to his left hand side to celebrate into the only full area of the stadium left, and that's the Brighton area as Roberto De Zerbi runs onto the field and does a knee slide, just to show what a huge victory this is for the football club.
He's wrecked the trousers with that one, but it just tells you what it means. What a crazy game football is. On Monday, Brighton 1, Everton 5. Here we are this Sunday, and it's Arsenal 0, Brighton 3, and we've now got sort of aerial shots from outside of the Emirates Stadium. There are thousands of Arsenal fans pouring away from the ground. It was always an outside shot, wasn't it? Having dropped the points recently for Arsenal, 9 points in the previous 4 games before the 2 wins against Chelsea and Newcastle. But it really has come undone in spectacular fashion at home to Brighton this afternoon, and we have a minute of this game to play. Here come Arsenal looking for a late goal. It will only be a consolation, and as it stands, Manchester City needing 3 points from their last 3 games to win the Premier League title. They could do it by beating Chelsea at home next Sunday. It's a commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Welbeck, former Arsenal man, of course, running hard into the Arsenal half. Plays back to the halfway line. Buonanotte's given the ball away. So has Trossard. Here's Caicedo. Caicedo inside the Arsenal half. Arsenal still chasing. Reece Nelson running towards Lewis Dunk. Continues the chase. Doesn't feel teammates are helping. Stadium's less than a quarter full now. Easily, isn't it?
A quarter?
Well, less, exactly. What are you going to say? An eighth, a tenth? I don't know, Glenn. It's deserted, isn't it?
Yeah, it's empty.
It's deserted.
There's more red seats than people now.
Olays from the Brighton fans. 5 seconds to play according to my stopwatch. What an incredible performance from them. And there we go. Brighton on the march to Europe next season, possibly, still with the games in hand. A 3-0 win at Arsenal with 3 goals in the second half. Julio Enciso, Dennis Undav and Pervis Estupiñán. And in terms of the title race, well, it's almost done. 3 points from 3 games for Manchester City to clinch it. That is only a 5th defeat of the season for Arsenal. They look tired, they look jaded, they look well beaten out there, but credit to Brighton, Glenn Murray, because they did a fabulous job here this afternoon.
They did. I thought Roberto De Zerbi's tactics were absolutely superb, and what's already been a record season of points, wins and goals, they just keep adding to. And do you know what, a lot of people questioned them. The last 5 games, Arsenal away, Newcastle away, Manchester City at home, but you know what, I do feel as though those teams and situations do suit this Brighton group, as has proved today with a massive 3-0 victory, which leapfrogs them over Spurs and Villa in the table, with another 2 games in hand on them into 6th. Huge season for the football club.
They love it here at the Emirates Stadium, do Brighton. Fantastic recent record, 4 wins on their last 5 visits. This probably the most impressive. Some fabulous football, particularly in the second half, and Arsenal eventually just running out of gas. The Arsenal players stay out on the field, go once again to applaud their fans who stuck with them all season. The Brighton fans absolutely loving their afternoon. Former Brighton man Ben White deep in conversation with Lewis Dunk, but it is almost there now for Manchester City. It's almost like one hand again on the Premiership trophy. 3 points from 3 games is all that's needed now for Manchester City to win the title, and the next game for them. A 5 Live commentary next Sunday. They're at home against Chelsea. If they win it, they'll be champions. That's because final score here today, Arsenal 0, Brighton 3.
Yeah, it means there is a pretty good chance you will hear the Premier League title won on 5 Live next week, because if Arsenal lose at Nottingham Forest in the 5:30 kickoff next Saturday, which will bring you full commentary of, then that'll be it. Manchester City will win the title. If they don't, then City can win it for themselves, as Ali was saying, when they play Chelsea on the Sunday. Full commentary of that also on 5 Live. 08085 909 693. You can get your call in now to speak to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 606. Maybe if you were one of the Arsenal fans who left the Emirates early, you might want to give them a call and explain why. There are some fans who stayed behind to applaud the players off the pitch, but as Glenn and Ali were saying, not that many. Let's use the opportunity, Glenn, in the couple of minutes we have before 606 to heap praise on Brighton, who need at most 5 points from their remaining 4 games to be in the Europa League next season. That is remarkable.
And that's obviously for Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur immaculate, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a brilliant scene from a Brighton point of view. The whole playing staff and coaching staff are over in the corner there, to rapturous applause from the fans who have thoroughly enjoyed their afternoon once again in North London, where it just seems to be a really happy place for them. And the manner in which they took this game to Arsenal today, I mean, it speaks volumes of how far the club's come, and they thoroughly deserve 3 points and their 3 goals here.
3 teenagers on the pitch at one time or another as well, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is. I think that's the most exciting thing about Brighton. I think everyone appreciates the way they play football, but for me, it's the youthful naivety of the way they play football, and they keep attacking. It's attractive, it's energetic, and I think it's a really, really good reflection of the man at the helm, and that's Roberto De Zerbi.
Really good point made by the Athletics' Adam Crafton, who was with us earlier on Twitter just now. He says Brighton sell Potter and Cucurella and coaches to Chelsea, beat them home and away, sell White and Trossard to Arsenal, end their title challenge. And look, this amazing model might not always be sustainable. You can't always get these transfers right. But with Brighton where they are now, Glenn, there are going to be players who will see Brighton as the destination, not the stepping stone.
Yes, there will, and don't get me wrong, there are going to be people that leave this group. There's going to be some huge sums of money coming in the summer, and it's going to benefit the football club. I think that's the only way that Tony Bloom will let them leave. But yes, you're going to be able to attract better, more experienced players rather than the 18-year-olds you see out there today. But do you know what? Why not get the 18-year-olds? They're doing such a good job, and that adds to the attraction of the football club. There's a clear pathway for youth from all over the world to get into the first team and do it, as we see with the Buenanotes and Encisos and Evan Ferguson's. And you're right, everything's worked out right in this precise moment for Brighton. All the signings, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work, but it's about how long they can keep making those right decisions.
And they can afford to lose the odd player. They've dealt with that really well. Right now, it's about hanging on to the manager, isn't it?
Well, yes, yeah, it is, yeah. But I mean, where do you go? I mean, you make the point of the players. Cucurella left, Bissouma left, and the lads will look at those, and they've gone to join so-called bigger. Well, they are bigger clubs, but the structure's not right, so they're not getting the best out of the players. They don't look half as good as what they looked in a Brighton shirt. And also, we praised Graham Potter and Roberto De Zerbi, but you've got to understand that everything's in place at Brighton.